Good morning, beautiful people. It is Friday, August 21st. One day until I make my WWE NXT debut. Whenever I kick Adam Cole's ass tomorrow night, it is the last day of Fight Week.
Yeah!
Orlando, we have a great Friday show for you. We were supposed to have a couple good guests. Last minute, they both backed out. So now we have another guest in the second hour named Michael Lombardi, who got by the internet, but a man who knows the internet, or not the internet, the NFL inside and out. We'll talk to him about training camp in the second hour. In the first hour, there's a lot of things for us to chat about. I mean, a lot of things to chat about. To do so, I am surrounded by a great group of legendary men. Sitting to my immediate right, a man whose jawline has been memed on the internet after his appearance on NXT on Wednesday night. Ladies and gentlemen, Super Bowl champion AJ Hawk.
Yeah!
What's up, AJ?
Not a whole lot.
Have you seen the pictures and the memes of your face whenever you walked out of the car at NXT and the jawline was beautiful? Have you seen the
I've seen
photo?
I saw some pictures. It was good. I thought that was one of my favorite parts of your whole thing, your intro, where you popped your little head over the driver's side door. What'd you say?
Well.
Yeah, that was one of my favorite parts of the night.
We had a good time with that. The car that I was driving, because obviously my car is not down here, is the man that's sitting directly next to AJ Hawk, a man who's in the NFL for a long time, host of the Man to Man Pod and everything DB. Ladies and gentlemen, Darius Butler. How's it going, DB?
Going great.
You learned about soaking them from the boys here. You have a bathing suit on. Are you going right to that pool immediately as soon as this show is over?
Right in a break, actually.
Oh, you're going
yeah, in between. Quick soaking. 3 minutes soaking.
And to his right is a man who says a lot of dumb things, but we enjoy it at Boston Connor.
It's a great time. Also, I believe Zito is a better reader than LeBron James now.
Why is that?
Well, Zito can actually read past the table of contents, and it turns out LeBron has only been reading the table of contents since the beginning of time.
There is a thread on the internet right now that is allegedly exposing. Now, granted, there could be a lot of other shots of him reading deep in the book that they have chose to cut out of this if he is that avid of a reader. But it sure feels like when there's a camera on him, LeBron will read a book, and said book is normally on page 1.
Yeah.
And there's somebody who's a hater. I wouldn't be surprised if this was Nick who did this thread, to be completely honest, of LeBron, or maybe even you, Connor.
No.
Yeah, maybe
I
even
respect
you.
him too much.
There's like 10 photos there where there's 10 different books of him astutely reading them, and it's page 1, and that's further than I've ever gotten to a book. And I like that the angle there that he's potentially giving is like, hey, know that I'm a reader, like trying to be a good role model. Have you ever thought about maybe trying to be a good role model, or you just think he's lying to people?
Well, I just think he's lying to people, because who starts a book right before a game? But also, if he wants to be a good role model, hey, get in the classroom. Go to the promise school. Go to the promise school. Read the books to children. Read the books to children. Show them the way. Don't just show them you read the table of contents.
He built the school.
Build the school.
He built the school.
Yeah, so get in there and help the kids. Don't just build the school. Help the school.
He's the Zoolander of the NBA.
All right, it's at Tone Diggs, and next to him is at Ty Schmidt. Ty's got a brand new haircut, by the way. I don't think I've ever seen this tight of a fade on Ty. Ty, the face looks good, pal.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Yeah, I mean, it was a pretty long haircut, but he does good work, so it was well worth it.
How long?
I was in that chair for about an hour and 45 minutes. I damn near fell asleep during it.
You look good. A lot of haircuts were given out. Even Cuban Zeke got one. He's got his chain flexed back there. Jason McAfee is here trying to hammer some doors back into their places they're supposed to be, because obviously Boston Connor ran through one because he was so excited about LeBron James reading. At Nick Moroto's here with a fresh haircut. And obviously back in the movie theater cutting everything up at Evan Foxy and Billy Tubes doing God knows what. There's a lot to talk about. Hey, Foxy, you have a microphone back there. The Detroit Pistons somehow find a way to lose even when they're not playing a game. Last night's another L for the city of Detroit.
Yeah, Pat, I don't know who did what. I don't know what happened to the city of Detroit, but I'm officially calling it a curse, because the Red Wings should have had the number 1 pick. We didn't get that, and now the Pistons get the 7th pick. We are getting completely screwed. The Lions have been cursed forever, so now I believe that is carrying over to the other teams, which is a problem.
Well, maybe they'll lose the curse and everybody else will gain it. But the interesting thing about that NBA lottery is teams suck in the NBA on purpose getting that lottery, and it raises you like 3% or something like that. It is not a high enough percentage for people to be tossing their entire organizations in the trash for, like the Pistons have been doing for a long time. You guys had a rather large percentage versus everybody else to get the number 1 pick, right, Foxy?
Yeah, we had a 10% chance. Us and Knicks fans are feeling pretty bad today.
Entire organizations are deciding to suck for a 10% chance of something. That's how desperate these teams get to win the lottery. Who ended up winning the lottery?
Here it is right there.
The Minnesota Timberwolves.
Yep.
Hey, shout out to Minnesota, by the way. Love that state. Love the city of Minneapolis. It's a good place. And they can't go outside literally for like 5 months because it's so cold. So they have tunnels around the entire city. Shout out to Minnesota. Golden State picks up the number 2 overall pick. Ooh. They have a year where their studs are all injured, so they stink. After basically building a dynasty, now they're either going to trade that pick, which is what all the NBA experts are saying they're going to do, or there's a couple players that would fit into that team perfectly, everybody's saying. Then Charlotte didn't know they still had a basketball team. Chicago, cool, Last Dance. Cleveland, Atlanta, Detroit, New York, Washington, Phoenix, San Antonio, Sacramento, New Orleans, Boston. Yeah! New Orleans, I mean, hopefully they'll just play the guy they drafted last year. That's all we're looking for them to do is play Zion. NBA playoffs are back. The Lakers are back. The Milwaukee Bucks are back. Giannis, Bron back on the winning side of things yesterday after another round of playoff basketball takes place. The Rockets get a win over the Thunder. The Heat beat the Pacers. The Bucks beat the Magic, and the Lakers beat the Trailblazers. Darius, you said that you hate when Braun plays the style of basketball he was currently playing. You feel like it's a little bit different. LeBron, as I agree, by the way. This feels like LeBron. And now, before last night, I guess, very much what have you done for me lately show here. Like, we will react immediately to what is happening, and then we will change our reaction afterwards. Yep. After what you saw from the Lakers yesterday, do you feel as if this is a team where Braun can put the team back on his back and continue to go on a run here?
I just don't trust the guys around him to consistently be good.
Danny Green, I saw him knee a ball out of bounds on a fast break.
Yeah. I don't trust those guys, man. JR, got D Waiters. Those are shot makers, but once again, not consistent. AD took over last night. We need that every night, but LeBron still got to go out there and drop 30+. He dropped like 10 points last night, but they got lucky. I mean, it's a 1-8.
Yeah, he only scored 10. There's no way they're going to win another game if he scores 10 points.
No, so you're saying Braun, first page of the book. The second page of the book says need to score more than 10 if you're going to continue to win. But he did a triple-double. They lose. He scores 10. They win. Maybe we don't know what we're talking about.
Yeah. And Lillard got hurt, too.
Who?
Dame Lillard.
Oh, his finger. I saw that.
Yeah.
Hey, by the way, he was trying to pull that thing. Have you guys ever had it reminded me, like when you stove your finger as a child, it always feels as if something's got shoved in there. So you pull it. I don't know if that actually fixes anything or not. But
sometimes.
You know when people have their shoulder out?
Yeah.
Like the shoulder out, and people just automatically know, like, yeah, pull this thing. You're going to watch it. I don't know if I could handle that. Like, I don't know if I could be a guy that could do that. Were either of you guys that had that happen to you?
I actually dislocated my toe one time. In like an off-season 707, in college when you go in the facility, that was bad. But I've had the finger.
Did they pull it out?
Yeah, they came in and just pull it out, put it back in place, kind of tape it up. Same thing with the finger. I did that in the middle of a game once. It sucks. It's painful.
Is that turf toe?
At least it was on his left. No, it's not turf toe.
What is turf toe? Turf toe is like when you do what Damian Lillard did to his finger, to his toe?
I don't really know what turf toe is, honestly.
Turf toe doesn't, you don't dislocate it. It's supposedly it's crazy painful. I don't know. I think it's repetitive, like jamming, and you can't move it.
Have you heard what this dude did? This dude, look at his nasty-ass fingers. He had one that just turned sideways, and they just taped them together, and he finished the season. So then he was throwing up the
you got a buddy tape. Damn right. Everyone buddy tapes. You have to, man.
Hey, Pinky, you keep the ring finger together. Yeah. Middle, you keep the pointer finger straight, and we'll get along just fine.
Good old buddy system. Get you through the season.
Speaking of NFL seasons,
Wait. Speaking of fingers, you did this to me. You know that, right?
What?
Pre-game.
No.
About to play the Rams.
No.
The game they beat our ass, actually.
No.
Somebody threw me, hey, you may have to return punts this week. Hey, get out there and catch something from Pat. All right, cool.
Oh.
Hey.
Putting bomb. Oh! Hammer, get me right. So he got to pop this back in place. Buddy tape had to play the game.
That bend right there is
it was broken, and they put the little brace on you to wear it, but I hate braces.
I am so sorry.
This is forever.
By the way, you are not the only victim to that, okay? That is something that does happen, but that's not technically my fault. Them saying that they wanted you – because, by the way, that week, if they were asking you, I offered up to be the returner as well because all we were going to do was fair catch. I was like, hey, listen, I'll get back on those jugs. I know where the ball's going. Let me do it. And Tom McMahon was like, no. I was like, all right, let me catch them then. So I go in the jugs machine. I'm messing around in practice easy because I know where the ball is going. I know where it's turning. And, by the way, you've seen the hands. Say it.
Top 3.
I had
top 3 in the specialist room for the Colts.
No, team.
Top 3 on the team.
Team.
Wow.
My hands, by the way, they had to be.
I believe you.
I had to catch, and by the way, I got bored, so my hands were very good. I mean, some would say top 2, but, Darius, I guess, goes top 3.
You didn't have a drop. I don't remember you dropping any snaps, so
There was one.
Top
I did.
three.
I did drop one.
Ah.
Yeah. Well, we won't talk about it. But I would go back. I go on back and caught the jugs every single time, like perfect. Just boom, easy, no problem, bang, bang, bang. And I was like, Tom, just if we're gonna fair catch it, we don't have a guy. Just let me go fair catch him. I'll go fair catch him. He even goes up to Chuck and says, "Hey, McAfee can actually catch these. Should we do this?" And Chuck goes, "He won't fair catch the ball though."
smart guy.
So literally the next day I was told to stop. They put you in there. Whenever that ball starts to turn though, there's a couple balls that I hit that if they come straight down,
That's exactly what happened.
Yeah,
and I'm not a punt return guy. I'm a kick return, so I'm used to the.
hey, just
And
give me
that thing was.
straight down. Yeah, you remember when they drafted Philip Dorsett?
Of
So,
course I remember
so they
that.
draft Philip Dorsett first round. Okay, we have T.Y. Hilton on the team. Philip Dorsett, T.Y. Hilton, very similar wide receivers, but they were doing best on the board, best available, and they had Philip Dorsett whenever he got there. They cut Josh Cribbs like that night or something. So they were trying to send a message that like, okay, Dorsett, not only is he a great wide receiver, he's also very fast. He'll be our returner. Tom McMahon was like, this guy returned 0 punts in college. How do we know? Oh, he's athletic enough. He'll be able to figure out. And Tom's like, not everybody can just figure out how to catch a punt and return. They're like, oh, he'll be able to do it. So the first day, Phil Dorsett's there and we have like pads on. Tom's like, hey, you give this guy the hardest balls that he'll ever see in his life. I'm like, you got it. And by the way, he wasn't bad, wasn't great though. Like it's a talent, like it's a real talent being able to catch punts. Darius is one of the best athletes I've literally ever seen in my entire life. It's something you got to practice. First game he gets in there against Buffalo, I think he dropped 2. Do you remember that? He dropped 2. He got pulled out. I mean, it was a big scene. It's not just something where you can just plug an athlete.
Yeah, it's
back.
tough.
You should have told him. Why didn't he? Hey, I haven't done this. This is not my thing.
I don't
You
think-
guys are NFL coaches. I thought you knew that.
I don't think. By the way, I don't think he ever said anything like that. But I know that whenever we were punting to each other, like he was like trying to learn as fast as possible. Like he was like, "Hey, when the ball starts doing this, like he was very inquisitive because I think he even knew like, I am not supposed to be back here right now. But if he was able to figure it out, that guy would have been a guy who would have been an explosive returner. He was so good in practice. I've talked about Philip Dorsett a couple times on this show. Practice, he was making these insane catches. Then we would. Game day, we didn't give him the ball. He didn't get the ball. I don't think like maybe 4 times a game, maybe 3 times a game, maybe even less than that.
Patriots, he would have like every other game. They would throw it to him. Some games he'd do unbelievable, and then the next game they just won't even look at him. Brady,
Is that a thing that athletes will do though? Is admit that they can't do something? Like Pat got drafted and never held ever, but he said that he was great at holding.
Lied right to Bill Polian's face. Lied right to his
Not
face.
many will say, "Nah, coach, I don't want to do this." A first rounder, he could have got away with it. Like, I'm not. And plus, you got to be something got to be a little off to be a punt returner.
Yes.
It's not like kick return. You got a little more space. Punt return, like a dude could be right there when you catch the ball.
Like Pac-Man, who never fair caught it.
I like it.
Hey, you know he had that incredible run of never. I still think he hasn't fair caught a ball yet. And
Tell you something got to be a little off.
Pac and I knew each other pretty good, right? Because West Virginia, and we hung out a little bit. Before the game, he was like, he caught like 3 punts or something like that. He was just doing it to mess around. Like he was at the point of his career where punt returning wasn't even something he was thinking about. It was just like a natural thing he was doing. And I was like, hey, I'm gonna get you a fair catch today. And he looked. I've never seen Pac look at me that way. He said, you will never. And then he just jogged away. And I was like, oh my God, that is one of the funniest things I've ever heard. And he was 100% right. If there was a dude a yard in front of him, it did not matter. It was like a lot of people, if they're a really good returner, you hit it as high as you can so we can get a fair catch. Let's just eliminate them. Even if we got to move up the yard, if we're little shorter punts, let's eliminate. With Pac-Man, it did not matter. He was willing to get absolutely knocked out cold instead of take the easy way out in his eyes, which, by the way, probably a smart thing to do so you don't die. But, Deba, you and I could have been returners that game. They gave you a shot. They didn't give me a shot. That's weird.
Did you guys come after all the punts? I would hope if you're fair catching everyone, you got a 10-man rush.
For me?
The game where you said you guys didn't, that you were possibly going to be a returner, you knew you were going to fair catch it. Did you come after every punt?
I would assume we brought some heat.
You should block one. If you know you're going to fair catch every single one.
You know, coaches get very scared to block punts, though, because if you hit them,
they don't trust their guys.
Yeah,
There's only 1 or 2 guys they trust to block it.
And also the refs, too, because
definitely don't trust them.
You know what I mean? If you're even in the area, there's some punters that are very good at drawing penalties.
Yeah.
And I was never one of those guys, by the way, because on film I didn't want to. That's a tough look on film to be like.
But you're helping your team out.
I know, so it's kind of. I do too. Like I just don't like.
If you flop, it has to be so over the top and almost like I'm making a joke of this whole thing.
Joel
and
Embiid.
still try to get the flag.
So when I did punt, pass, and kick as a child, national championship was Pittsburgh.
Congrats.
You were.
I think I was 4th place.
not even on the podium.
I told. Connor.
Terrible guy.
I toe bashed my kick, and you got to hit it straight. Every yard it's off the line, they bring it back. So punt was good, pass was good, toe bash kick said hard right.
Okay, well, I was down there. The Steelers just so happened to be playing the Titans, and that was the game that Nedney, the lefty kicker, it was at the end of the game. We're on the sideline. My dad, massive Steelers fan, like obviously huge. I was representing the Steelers at this thing. Steelers were playing the Titans in Tennessee. I actually got booed as I was announced as the champion by the entire stadium. I mean, it was, as a 15-year-old, I'm getting booed by 65,000 people. I threw up the shocker, gave him a wave. I mean, it was an awesome moment. But that game ended, if you do recall, Nedney misses a field goal, flops. Okay, they call it. He gets another chance, and I think it goes to overtime. That was the tie. It goes to overtime. Titans win or whatever. In the disappointment and upset from my father on that flop, I think it was just kind of something that always ran deep. Like, all right, if we're going to win, let's do it the right way here. But, boy, you really help your team whenever you flop and do
Did
stuff.
you flop when you played soccer?
No. Can't. Yeah. I was bigger than everybody.
Yeah, it's too big.
Yeah, if I'm flopping around, that's a real problem. Tim McAfee be like, sleep outside.
Take it to the fence again?
He'd take me to a fence whenever I was a kid because I was flinching. Like kids would do a feint and I would turn my head or whatever. So my father taped me to a fence and threw soccer balls at me. He was like, does this hurt? I'm like, kinda, yeah. Kinda. Yeah, that's the – yeah, that's –
I like it.
Yeah, that's – if I was to flop, I think it would be a tough house to go back into, Dad, what's going on? Did you see that first down I got? I did, yeah. Speaking of, you're moving in with the neighbor. 15 minutes after the hour, we have to get to a break. There's a lot to talk about. Ron Rivera sending our positive thoughts, our positive well wishes. He's been diagnosed with lymph node cancer, which we'll talk about on the other side because Darius and I happen to be on a team where the head coach was diagnosed with leukemia. That entire process is an interesting one, but it can bring your team together.
Yes.
Especially if they have great care for the coach, which I would assume they do for Ron Rivera. We'll talk about that on the other side, plus plenty more. By the way, Aaron Rodgers is teaching Jordan Love how to throw footballs into a net at practice. We have to break that down. We will talk about it. We'll get Aaron James Hawk's opinion on how Aaron Rodgers is acting as a mentor to Jordan Love. Not an easy thing to do, Aaron. James?
I give him a ton of credit. It was amazing. That whole clip, I cannot wait to break that down on the other side.
AJ was so mad watching another sports network channel this morning while they were breaking down that clip. He was so mad about what are they talking about right now.
I don't have a problem with them talking about it. It's the amount of time they spent on a simple conversation.
That is not just a simple conversation. We'll talk about this more on the other side. That is not just a simple conversation. That is an entire metaphor for the relationship between Aaron and Jordan. Yes. That is Aaron Rodgers.
I didn't see Brett.
All right, let's go to
break. We'll talk about it on the other side.
Wrap it up, son. Sorry.
We'll talk about it on the other side. But this is a big deal for the relationship for the Green Bay Packers moving forward in that quarterback.
My mic cord's not making it all the way here either, guys.
This is freaking Rodgers.
I need to lift this up.
This is the Pat McAfee Show, Friday, August 21st. Big ass fight tomorrow night. Let's do this.
I need to know everything, who and the what and the where, I need everything. Trust me, I hear what you're saying, but act like it's not what you're telling me. I'm curious, George, I hop in the Porsche, it's 5 and a horse, I'm ready for war, I'm coming for throats, to turn to a ghost, I need to know everything. Now you be surprised at the info you get is by letting them talk, so I'm letting them talk. Gotta keep quiet, maneuver in silence, then let them in, talk up their body, another one body, this is how it go. I got some secrets, I'm shaking the game so they stay on their toes. Stay in your lane, I just stay on the go. I can't play with the pros and act like a rookie, so they overlook me, then I double up again, none of their knows, none of them cold. They just got lucky but never adapted, so I'm to the one if it's coming to.
Since I made Adam Cole's soul leave his body, we got 12 days to get ready for another match with what some people are calling the next best wrestler of all time. I ain't worried about that, though. I eat that fucker for breakfast.
Small businesses have unique needs, and despite the current uncertainty, one thing that remains unchanged is the importance of having the right people on your team. When your business is ready to make that next hire, LinkedIn Jobs can help by matching your role with qualified candidates so that you can find the right person quickly. I love LinkedIn because they show you different jobs. LinkedIn is an active community of professionals with more than 690 million members worldwide. Why? LinkedIn Jobs screen candidates with the hard and soft skills you're looking for and puts your job post in front of qualified members every day so that it's seen by people looking for jobs like yours. That's how LinkedIn Jobs can help you hire the right person faster. When your business is ready to make that next hire, find the right person with LinkedIn Jobs. You can pay what you want and get the first $50 off. Just visit linkedin.com/Pat. Again, that's linkedin.com/PATPAT to get $50 off your first job post. Terms and conditions obviously apply.
Great work, Connor. I mean, you even got out of the way of the beat drop as well. Shout out to LinkedIn.com.
Get in there before.
They do have everything you could possibly need for your hiring services. Shout out to LinkedIn.com. And Connor, great read. Maybe your best read yet. You sold the hell out of that one. I forget what line it was. You really emphasized that in a proper fashion.
I like LinkedIn because you can see jobs on there. That's what I said. And it's true.
Is that the dumbest human that's ever had a microphone for people to listen to, you think?
No, not even close.
No?
Not even close.
No.
Not even
Connor,
close.
he's one of those weird geniuses that we don't understand.
Oh, like Zito. Yeah, Zito, Connor. There's a lot of those out there. Let's talk about the NFL. The Washington football team has had quite a wild last couple months. Maybe the craziest quarantine for any NFL team would be the Washington football team. Obviously, they finally make the decision to change their name after being protested for years and years and years. Then an entire article and expose comes out in Washington Post exposing their toxic culture that they've had in there for years and years and years. And it felt as if the people that they were hiring to kind of be the face of the new team, the Washington football team, named TBD later, that Ron Rivera was this kind of peacemaker, this man that was a coach that was sent from the heavens to the Washington football team and Snyder and the family and everything over there. Now we are learning, as of either last night or this morning, I believe he told the team last night, that Ron Rivera, the brand new head coach for the Washington football team, a man who is obviously spearheading a big movement and changing the way things are run over there in Washington, has been diagnosed with lymph node cancer. And in the announcement, they said this is a very treatable and very curable form of cancer. He said that he will break right into the rehab and the treatment for lymph node cancer, and he will be coaching while doing it, which I think everybody kind of raised their eyebrows out because we are currently in the middle of a pandemic, which I don't think we know much about here 5 months after it shut down the entire world. But we do know that people that are potentially going through, chemo, which could weaken your immune system a little bit, things like that. This COVID-19 obviously is a big ass whenever it comes to those types of situations. I believe it's called immunocompromised is the way it was being described. But Ron Rivera, I assume his doctors, the entire Washington football team have talked about how if he feels good enough to go in there and coach, to continue to coach no matter what the situation is. And he said that he's expecting and has been told 3 to 4 weeks into this that he could potentially become a bit too tired or something like that. And in that case, we don't know who the assistant coach will be, but we probably assume that somebody will step into that interim head coach role. Now, obviously, we can't wait to watch Ron Rivera kick the hell out of this. He's a tough man. He's a badass man. He's a good man. I assume he's got a great supporting cast around him. If all the things we've been told about good people obviously have a good cast around him, let's all expect that Ron Rivera is going to beat this, come back, and lead the Washington football team. But this is obviously quite a punch in the gut to a franchise that, could possibly, and I think any franchise, need Ron Rivera at this moment. So he's going to continue to coach. And we obviously, in the NFL, whenever this situation like this happens, you always look back to when previously this had happened. And myself and Darius actually but we're on the team for the most recent situation from this, which has spurned a foundation that has raised millions and millions of dollars for cancer research. But Chuck Pagano was the head coach of the Indianapolis Colts. Chuck Pagano was a brand new head coach. There was a brand new regime. There was an entire new system, everything like that. We had the opportunity, obviously, to go through OTAs and have team meetings with Chuck and position meetings and get a chance to learn about him quickly. And to be honest, our entire team fell in love with Chuck very, very quickly. Chuck was a guy that I think any player that you would ever talk to loved playing for Chuck. So we had this deep connection in the first couple weeks. Obviously, we're a young team trying to get everything done, and we had a good experience. And we had a bye week, like week 5, like maybe week 4, very early bye week, which whenever you see the schedule made and you hear and read that you have a week 5 bye week, you are miserable. This is not a good time to have a bye week. This is the league and schedule maker saying, you stunk last year. You are going to get punished for it now, where you're going to have to go very quick early, and then you got the long haul closing out. I mean, when you're in the middle of that tunnel on the other side of the bye week, there is no light in sight. Good luck, grind it out. That is something that people look at when the schedule is released. But for us, it just so happened to probably save Chuck's life. Chuck, going into that bye week, the story, I believe he said this publicly, he saw bruises on himself for the last couple weeks going into that bye week, just like bruises would pop up. And he was like, oh, well, I guess I'm getting old or something. Like he thought that. So I believe his wife made him go in and get checked in the bye week. And as soon as he went in there, they were like, you're not leaving. You got leukemia, you got this, and then rumors started spreading, but we're on our bye week, right? So players kind of heard about it, but not really. And then whenever we got back to the team, and I believe we traded for you that week, or we picked you up that week, right?
Signed me that week.
We picked you up that week. So this was like Darius's introduction to the team. The first team meeting, let's say it was supposed to be at 7:30 on Monday or something like that after the bye week. We go in. We sit there. The equipment managers were told to go into the team meeting, not normal. The athletic trainers were told to go into the team meeting, not normal. And the team meeting was supposed to start at a certain time. It was like 5 minutes past that, and it wasn't even close, like not normal, okay? So nothing was normal. Nobody really knew. I guess a couple people had heard rumors, but we were looking around the team meeting room. The trainers were standing on the side. The equipment managers were standing on one side. I couldn't even fathom what you were thinking. You were like, oh, they do team meetings different here.
Wow, I had no idea what was going on.
Yeah, this is what is going on. And then all of a sudden, Jim Irsay walks in. Two doctors walk in. I think they even had their coats on. Like I believe it was like very obvious that they're doctors. And we were told the news. And whenever we were told that he went in, he checked in, that doctor for Chuck, he gave us an entire thing. He was like, as soon as he got there, literally an hour and a half later, he was in treatment. His wife had to bring a bunch of stuff. He wanted to come down. Jim told us the whole story. And the players obviously had a lot of questions, right? Like Reggie Wayne had known Chuck since high school. Chuck helped recruit him to the U, and obviously now he's back. Chuck and Reg were very tight, and nobody at that meeting told us like, hey, he's going to beat this. The goal was to beat it and come back in the season, but it wasn't like they didn't give us a percentage. That's why I think Ron Rivera is saying this is very treatable and very curable. Like that message was not sent to the team whenever it was first delivered to us, and everybody was like, oh my God, did this guy. So then Bruce Arians obviously is told like, hey, you're now our head coach here. And Bruce had to handle that thing masterfully, right? Chuck and he have been friends for a long time. Chuck just got a head coaching gig. So Bruce was like, hey, his office, we'll leave the light on for him in his office. I'm just here to manage things and get us to this. And Bruce Arians, since he's been around football for so long, was able to balance that. He had everybody's respect, and it was a very new organization, and everybody liked Chuck. We get a win. We take the game ball down to his hospital. I mean, it was like a incredible, riveting story, and Chuck was in it. I mean, Chuck was in battle there. And when he came back, that moment, there's a speech while he's still in treatment, I believe, at that point. He had a mask on. He took the mask off to give that speech after a game, after a win. I mean, it was an emotional season, I think, for everybody. And the real thing, it brought us together, right? And then when Chuck came back, it was like this masterful moment. And I've told the story about punt period was the first period back after he was gone for all these weeks and battling leukemia. And I thought maybe, like Chuck was going to come back and just be like, like, hey, listen, happy to be alive type thing. He started chewing me out like his first practice back. And I was like, yo, man, hey, what are we not? No, we got a game to win. I'm like, oh, you are all the way back. You're just right back in there. But it brought our team together, I think. And Darius, you were very new. That was a really, I don't want to say cool thing because it's never cool that happens. And Chuck obviously had the will and the grit to get through that. And he wanted to dance at his daughter's weddings, and he had all these goals. He wanted to lift a Lombardi. He wants to do all these things. And he got through it, but it was a real battle for him. But for our team, it was something like nobody else can experience what we're going through right now. It's literally only us.
Yeah.
And I would assume the Washington football team is going to have that same type of thing, pulling for Ron, but then also rallying for him as well.
Yeah, it definitely brought us a lot closer. My first start, actually, that's when a bunch of us went ball.
Yeah, oh, yeah.
Ball for the Chuck Strong thing. And I didn't know him well yet.
You got a pick six that night, right?
Oh, yeah.
That was in Jacksonville.
Yep. Wow.
Yeah, I remember that. I do remember that.
Yeah, so it was definitely brought us together. And like you said, BA steered the ship. He led and he kept Chuck involved. He always was speaking about him. Chuck was always positive whenever he was talking to the team. I think, and for these guys, especially these coaches who've been coaching all their life, like, I'm sure that's probably why the doctors were like, hey, if you can keep doing it, do it. Because a lot of it is about, your attitude and your energy. If your energy levels are low or you're feeling, shitty, that can have an effect on your treatment, on your recovery. So I'm glad he's doing what he loves to do. But, obviously a little concerned with the pandemic that's going on. So, my well wishes to Ron, man.
They need him over there, too. Like, I don't think there's
– he's a GM, too, right? Still the acting GM?
So I would assume that's a couple roles that you have to fill there. But I don't know the lymph node cancer. We probably should have done a little bit more research on that and the expected time for coming back or whatever. Chuck had a real life, like, hey, 11 weeks, I think, was the goal or whatever. I don't know if it was 11 weeks, 10 weeks, 8 weeks, whatever it was. But there was a real goal that was laid out to us on what he's expecting to do. And there was a couple weeks there where I guess it was very, very hard. Like, I got a chance to talk to Chuck about this whenever we traveled over to Japan for our USO tour. I mean, that's only like a 77-hour flight. I mean, it is. You're going, obviously, the other side of the world. And for those that are flat earthers, just go and book a flight to Japan or anywhere in Asia. You'll it's
see.
Pretty crazy, actually, just flying over the earth there. But I got.
So you saw the curve?
Yeah.
Yeah, you can see the horizon.
But by the way,
I believe it now.
By the way, if you buy into the flat Earth theory that hard, right, which I assume a lot of people do, you could also just assume that every airline is in on it. And when you're flying, they just kind of, the picture that you're seeing out the window is just a picture.
Concave mirror.
I mean, there's always a reason for something. But getting a chance to talk to him, he was like, that was my goal. And he would watch film every single day. So he would get the iPad, the film sent over to him, and he'd be watching film. And there'd be days, I guess, where he would fall asleep in the middle of film and he would wake back up. He was like, but that type of thing kept him going.
Yep.
And the games, he said, on Sundays, it was the best days for him because he got a chance to watch the guys and stuff like that. So, I mean, I'm happy Ron Rivera's going through it. Nothing but positive thoughts from this whole house and everybody we know. But I'm excited to see how the team rallies for him because it's it's going to be big for him is his squad. And I think the boys will know that in the locker room.
You talked about how respected BA was and how big he was coming in for that. So, like, Jack Del Rio's on the staff, who's been a head coach before. Like, that's huge for them, right?
That's very good
if he
news.
has to miss time.
And Del Rio, I think, is a player's coach, right? I believe Jack Del Rio is known as a player's coach.
Yeah, but didn't he have some comments
Yeah.
a couple weeks ago?
Had some questionable comments this offseason.
What was it about? The anthem? Well, it was something like
It was about COVID, I think.
Was it? Whatever it was before he got back to the facility with his players, too. So some guys will meet him for the first time, and that's all they know of him, really. And their Zoom meetings, yeah, maybe, but yeah,
so
it's a tough
now,
first
though,
impression.
I mean,
Who
brand
else
new,
is there?
brand
Do you
new
know?
president, right? That's a big decision. He's going to have to figure out, okay, who do we put in there? Because it never made sense to me. Whenever you see these coaching titles, there's like assistant head coach and this, and then it's like this. There's all these titles, and that's all obviously for resumes and for your contracts and how much you're getting paid. I didn't really understand or respect those titles until the Chuck situation was like, okay, this is the guy now. Like, you immediately know, like, okay, this is the guy. He's the guy who's going to be setting up the schedule. He's the guy who's going to be setting up the meals. He's the guy who's going to be setting up everything that we're running here. And by the way, BA was almost retired. People forget that before Chuck called him, he just got fired from the Steelers. He was in his car down to his lake house in Georgia, all packed up. And the story goes that Chuck called him and goes, hey, cuz, you want to, and he turned the car and drove straight to Indianapolis.
That was Chuck's first call, too.
Yeah.
His first hire.
Yeah, as soon as he got it, was Bruce Arians. He was like, well, if I'm going to do this, we're going to do that guy. So I think that was obviously huge for our building. And for our team is knowing, like, okay, we got a guy who's been there, done that. But for BA, he goes from retired to offensive coordinator for Andrew Luck to winning coach of the year alongside Chuck, basically. Then he gets a head coaching gig. That's a wild ride for him. And it was all because, and this sounds so stupid, but it really is like the next man up mantra almost. Like which is what the NFL is. And I would assume in Washington they're going to have to make that decision. That's a big time decision.
For sure. And for you guys and now for the football team, like how important are veterans on the team to kind of rally everybody and make sure they stay focused?
Well, that's why Reggie was such a big deal, because not just how tight he was to Chuck, but also because Reggie, he wore the orange gloves. I don't know if anybody remembers that.
First Green Bay.
He got fined for them. I think he got fined for the orange gloves, but the orange was the color of the leukemia awareness, I believe, which is what Chuck was going through. And he made a nasty catch. I mean, I think he made a nasty catch with those gloves. And so I think he got fined for him, but there was a lot of leaders in there that kind of like took it on their shoulders. They're like, okay, here we go. Let's do it for this guy. And a lot of leaders that liked Chuck a lot. Like, so Corey Redding, who came from Baltimore, because like Chuck had his guys come in and they were, but you loved Chuck early. So our team had that. And I hope with the Zoom calls, enough people were able to get to know Coach Rivera, where that team is like, okay, we are, because people forget Zoom calls are cool. And although guys are missing out on learning like routes and everything like that and timing and the day-to-day in the building, you're also missing out on that team building, which is maybe the most important asset of a team being good or not, that never gets talked about. If a team likes each other, they are going to play much harder for each other. If the team does not like each other, those are probably the teams who have a lot of promise but never end up winning because they're not together. That camaraderie is such a big X factor.
All those little interactions that you miss throughout your whole offseason, March through the middle of June. Obviously, now they don't have that. But even when they do come back together, what happened?
Just kicked my green tea literally off the glass. It's all over the
Are you sure? Is that green tea or is that urine?
Yeah, see, stop. But please.
Chuck Berry.
That's by the way.
Oh, no.
By the way, those are the interactions, though, not that particular one, but these types of interactions where you learn about people.
And you don't even get those interactions even now that they're in the facility when they got to eat like at their own little table and stay socially distanced. So now, like, you don't even have those interactions. Like, the only close interactions you have are when you're hitting each other.
That's why the teams that have been together for a while, I think, have such a head start on everybody. Not just because the on-field performance and knowing where somebody's going to be, but also because they know each other, which is not also knowing where they're going to be, but also like caring for each other. And I think that care is a big deal. I just, every team I've been on that's been great, everybody liked each other. And a couple teams I've been on that have been bad, nobody cared about each other. It was like, all right, I feel like that is something that I can take from my own personal life and say, how come this never gets talked about enough that, like, if a team likes each other, they're probably going to play.
It should be, but
harder for each
you can't
other.
meure it. That's the only hard thing. Like, you can't
really
measure
can't.
how well they get along.
That's why that personality thing and like those pre-draft meetings that couldn't happen are such
Important.
So important, because if you have somebody who's good at reading a room or reading a person, and they've been putting the team together, and they go sit down with somebody, even though they might like the person and think they're fast and have good skills, be like, not good for our locker room, though. That guy won't fit in our locker room for whatever reason, because maybe the vets in said locker room just don't like people that are like that. Maybe loud, charismatic, you have no idea. You just got to know your room, and I think that is the one biggest downfall of these no OTAs or off-season workouts or training camp being in the same dorm, which sucks, by the way. It always sucks. But at night when people come back and get their snack and are mingling and hanging out, watching TV, or like those are things that you can't put a price on. You can't buy it. You can't do anything like that. It just has to be experience. And I hope that team obviously has gotten a chance to rally around Ron Rivera enough, like we were able to with Chuck. Now, not you, obviously, you brought in that week, but our team was like, we care about this guy. 40 minutes after the hour, we have to get to a break. On the other side, big conversation about Aaron Rodgers being a mentor.
Yeah.
Big Aaron Rodgers, leader, mentor, role model. I'm going to ask Aaron James Hawk if Aaron Rodgers ever had that moment with him where he taught him something, like you did with Jordan Love yesterday while Jordan was trying to throw a football into a hole in a net in a warm-up drill in practice. This is the Pat McAfee Show, August 21st.
Well, hello, sensual piano keys. You sound incredibly inspirational and motivational. Big announcement coming from our company. You know, throughout my entire life, I've made decisions that people have said, ooh, that is stupid. You've read about them, you heard about them. When I was in high school, I went to an underground poker game, won $1,400, flew myself down to Miami, won a kicking contest, and got a scholarship to West Virginia the next day. I turned my back on soccer that day. Everybody said, you're an idiot. Why are you doing that? You have more schools looking at you for soccer than you do for football. What are you thinking? Fast forward 8 years with the Indianapolis Colts, and I was on top of the world, top of the mountain. How's the view? Not too shabby. And when I was at the top of my game, I decided, you know what? I'm going to pursue some other stuff. My friends and I are going to go to work on the internet. We're going to try to chase fulfillment as opposed to just a paycheck. And there were some interesting responses from people of power in the sporting world.
Make them tear the uniform off of you. Sure. Look, somebody needs to stage an intervention. People who know this guy, get to him now. Make him put his helmet back on and get to camp.
Oh, no, there's no intervention, Wilbon. No, no, no. Here we are 3 years after that date, and it's a celebration, bitches. Cut the music. Let's hand out some bags to the boys. For the boys. For the boys. By the way, that's for you, brother.
Oh my God.
Are you home? All right, come out the front door.
What's up, dude?
What is this?
What's this?
Oh, you son of a bitch.
What the fuck? Fuck you. Oh, yeah. That is a bag of money.
FanDuel deal went through. There's $50,000 in there for you. Here's a backpack with $50,000 in it. Oh, $50,000 in there.
Oh my God.
Yes, there's $50,000 in there. Yes, there's $50,000.
Are you fucking serious?
Let's go.
Rubber band. Oh man. Let's go, dude.
Let's go. I appreciate you, buddy.
Yo, this is...
Appreciate you, man. Appreciate you, dude.
We did it?
Couldn't have done it without you.
Oh, thank you. Dude, it's a fuck ton of money. You guys, right?
When I asked Dan Patrick for some advice, he told me always take care of the boys.
And you should know those people that are there with you, that their value cannot be overstated and should not be overstated.
So Mike Wilbon, they didn't hold my jersey on me. They didn't hold my helmet on me. We didn't have an intervention. What we have is a celebration. Because when you bet on yourself, sometimes you hit for big. And for us, the only place we'll bet for the next couple years in an exclusive deal, FanDuel backed the Brinks truck up to our office, and we have never been more thankful, more excited, and more together as we promote the greatest sports book on planet Earth.
Summer is in full action, and we are thankful for our sponsor today, Manscaped, for keeping us fresh. Sun's out, bum's out, and hopefully your pubes are not out. Manscaped offers all the right tools to keep your hair groomed above and below the belt.
Is everything all right over there, Ty?
Yeah, why?
Yeah. No.
I don't know what you guys are talking about. I don't have my cans on either, so I can't hear anything. Manscaped is dedicated to helping you level up your full-body grooming game. They actually just released their Shears 2.0 Nail Kit, which is the perfect add-on to their Lawnmower 3.0 or the perfect package. No one likes an ungroomed set of feet, fingers, and most importantly, balls. That's why they have forever changed the grooming game with their Perfect Package 3.0. The Perfect Package 3.0 kit comes with the Essential Lawnmower 3.0, which is a water-resistant cordless body trimmer and a ton of other liquid formulations to round out your manscaping routine. This is the best trimmer on the market for those of you in need of a chest shave or a ball cleanup. This third-generation trimmer features skin-safe technology to reduce manscaping accidents. You'll also find the Crop Reviver, a testy toner that's designed to give you a pep in your step.
A pep in your step, huh?
Yep.
You have that for sure.
Yeah, okay.
For a limited time, subscribers get 2 free gifts, the Shed Travel Bag and the patented high-performance reduced chafing Manscaped Boxer Briefs. Get 20% off and free shipping with the code PATM at manscaped.com. That's 20% off with free shipping at manscaped.com and use code PATM. Summer is here. It's time to manscape.
Attaboy, Ty. Ty, that excitement was just next.
So much enthusiasm.
Wasn't it?
Fired up.
Maybe the most enthusiastic ad read in the history of radio.
Well, like I said, I can't hear anything, so I wanted to make sure it was loud enough for the viewers at home.
Oh.
Smart.
Well, we were it was loud enough. We were just reminiscing about the Chuck Strong game, the first game against Green Bay Packers, where we came back in the third quarter. I think Gerard Powers had a pick early in the third quarter.
The back shoulder.
On our side of the field, I believe, if I do recall. And we came back to win. Reggie Wayne, who wore those orange gloves, he had 212 yards that game against A.J. Hawk's Green Bay Packer defense, right?
Yep, 13 catches, 212 yards. A.J. had 8 tackles.
Wow.
Oh, did you?
Hell, I should have had a bunch of tackles. We gave up 40 points in the fourth quarter, it sounds like.
30-27 was the final. You were up 21-3. Pat had 2 punts inside the 20.
Thank you.
Look at you, Pat.
Shout out
Good
to
job.
Mance. Yeah, I mean,
we were fair catching everything anyway that game.
Well, most people did against me except for Pac-Man, so you know what I mean. They called me a skyscraper dog. I was bringing those things down from the clods. You know what I mean?
I never heard Tim Mastay call himself a skyscraper.
You could have played gunner. No, you couldn't have played gunner for our team, but you could have played.
I could not have played gunner. I would never claim to ever be able to do that.
The gunners are actually, for our punt team, the gunners were the only people we need. We need just gunner. Everybody else just protect and chill. We're good. Let us 3 take care of this, and if we don't, it's 100% on me. That was kind of that's kind of like the expectations that were set, by the way. Like, not by me, but by, like, Tom McMahon. It was like, these 3's job is to handle the returner. Everybody else just protect everything else that's going on. It's like, well, I mean, maybe we try to tackle, though, everybody else. We can potentially do that. It worked out. I mean, obviously worked out. You could have fair caught back there. We don't know. But that was a big game. We went on a big run there for Chuck. And I think the Washington football team will do that for Ron, and also because they're building a brand new franchise, basically, over there in D.C. Let's talk about the Green Bay Packers, the team that you played for. Big news this offseason, and when they chose to use their second-round draft pick to become a first-round draft pick to draft Jordan Love, the quarterback of the future for the Pack, when Aaron Rodgers still has 4 years left on his contract, and they were in the NFC Championship game last year.
There's no guarantee he's the quarterback of the future.
Oh, Jordan Love?
I mean, there's better be. You're hoping he will become the quarterback of the future.
Okay, that's what they were betting on. But, I mean, let's just set the scene a little bit better here. NFC Championship game, Green Bay Packers were there. Nobody knew how or why, but they lost to the San Francisco 49ers because the San Francisco 49ers rushed for 186 yards before contact against that defense. Could potentially be something you would like to plug up, so maybe next year you get one game past that to the Super Bowl. Instead, they go the complete opposite direction, trade up to draft a quarterback, have an all-pro quarterback. Then they draft the next one, a running back. Aaron Jones was their second best player on offense. They do that in the second round. So obviously, Gunther and LaFleur are trying to frame this thing for the future. And nobody knew how Aaron Rodgers was going to handle the situation. He was in a very similar situation, although the team didn't trade up to draft him. He fell to the Green Bay Packers, so it didn't look as if they were trying to go get him.
And Brett Favre had retired 4 times by then.
Okay, and Brett Favre has retired 4 times, so nobody knew what was going on. But Aaron was in that situation where he was presumed overall number 1 pick, I believe, and then he falls to the Green Bay Packers or whatever. So he's being placed in a position of allegedly close to how Brett Favre was with Jordan Love. And everybody's like, how's he going to handle it? How's he going to handle it? And Aaron James Hawk here, who is good friends with the A-Rod, said he's going to be Aaron's a good guy. This is how it's going to go. Now we have video evidence of what you were saying just yesterday at Green Bay Packers training camp practice. Jordan Love here is trying to do a warm-up drill where he's trying to throw the ball into a hole. He misses high with a wobble, and to be honest, it
was close.
D-Butt, I believe there's 4 or 5 guys probably in this room right now that could have made that throw better. Aaron stops him, says, hey, this is what you should do. Maybe when you throw, aim. You know what he said? He said maybe when you throw, just aim that thing. Aaron Rodgers, OG, one of the best ball throwers in the history of the NFL, steps up, hits both holes. But the only thing anybody's talking about is not the incredible accuracy by Aaron and not talking about how he potentially can throw the ball in a bucket better than any quarterback in the history of the NFL. Instead, it's him being a leader to Jordan Love. The other day he was throwing him snaps. I mean, this is a big, big news for the Packers, isn't it, AJ?
Well, so I had thoughts about this video until you told me he was throwing snaps back to Jordan Love. That's next level leadership right there.
Next level.
He's doing what the equipment manager usually does, right?
Yes.
They throw him the snap.
It was a warm-up drill, though, so they were walking back and forth. He was taking his drops, throwing it to him, and he would throw him.
So this is news why?
This is news because nobody knew if Aaron Rodgers was going to be cold shoulder-ish to Jordan Love or if he was going to welcome him into the quarterback room and this was going to become something where sensei, guru, teaching the next guy. Because this is not an easy position to be in, by the way, as a vet, especially with 4 years left on a contract where you're just in the NFC Championship, to be put in this position where you are, okay, now you just got to teach the future as opposed to trying to make a run again this entire time. I think it's great to show. It's great to see for a guy, Aaron.
I think it's fun to watch how easy Aaron makes this look.
Yes.
How he moves around still so well in year 16, 17.
And he still has that Brett Favre strap of the thing. I mean, it is – watching Aaron Rodgers throw is like watching Bob Ross paint, though. I mean, that is –
effortless.
And Jordan Love, I assume that he's like, all right, I'm never going to try to throw as good as that guy, but if that guy can teach me some things, maybe he can be the guy that can lead the Green Bay Packers back to prominence. Ain't that right, Ty Schmidt? Once Aaron Rodgers goes ahead and retires and sails off into the sunset.
Nah, I mean, this just chaps my ass like you would believe. I mean, Rodgers has got to spend his whole offseason, teaching this guy how to throw a 6-yard button hook into a frickin' net. So, I mean, just
button hook.
What a project this is going to be. What a waste of a pick. Again, nothing against, Jordan Love.
Not his fault.
It's not Jordan Love's fault.
It's not his fault.
But the running back they got in the second round has big old quads.
He does.
Awesome.
He does have big quads.
Connor tackled him in high school.
Oh, yeah. I didn't just tackle him. I mean, I leveled him. But.
Oh, yeah. No film has been shown of this.
No film's been shown. I have it on my phone. I'm saving it.
Hour 1 is wrapping up here on the radio. We're back on the other side. Michael Lombardi will join us. So many good conversations to be had. This is Friday, August 21st. We've never seen the film.
I mean, I got it right here. It's not as if I've just been holding it. It's in the vault. It's in the vault.
Well, why don't you say
airdrop it? Airdrop it over here.
You wait until he got drafted.
I have a dumb question about quarterbacks thrown together like this.
Here we go.
Yesterday, the football team in Washington, there was a video that came out, And listen, there's thousands of throws in training camp. But Alex Smith and Dwayne Haskins were right next to each other. Receivers were running the same exact route. Alex Smith puts it on a dime. Dwayne Haskins airmails it by about 15 yards.
Okay.
What does the team think
A lot
about?
of questions. When did that happen? Was it warm-ups? Was that in the...
You could only film warm-ups, so it was probably warm-ups or individual drills.
And what if Dwayne Haskins, by the way, wasn't loose yet? Alex Smith, I'd assume, has to go through an hour of prehab before practice, I would assume. And if that's warm-up, like maybe we get off the guy's ass a little bit.
Was it on air, or are they going against
It was on air, yeah.
I mean, you need to be 100% on air.
Yeah, balls cannot touch the ground.
15 yards?
It was bad.
Hey, I will say this. Anytime balls end up on the ground in those on-air things, you hear, 5 to 6 people just yell at the same time. Can't have balls on the ground when there's nobody defending you. Just can't have it happen. But I will say, I've seen a lot of practices that, boy, it happens on a pretty regular basis in the NFL that you don't expect.
Yeah, that's what practice is for. Come on, give him a break.
Hey, that's what I'm talking about.
It's called practice, right? We're working on new things. Maybe he's working on a new release. It's like when
anybody think about
that? Have you ever seen the local media members when they grade the one-on-one pass rushes? Got like an outside backer and the tackles have the linemen and the outside rushers absolutely despise all the media members when they grade them on this thing. I'm like, it's called practice. If you're a pass rusher, you're going to work on new moves.
Yeah.
So, you may get beat a few times in a one-on-one drill that's slanted towards the offense a little bit.
It is slanted towards the offense, right?
I believe it is, but I'm sure if you ask an offensive guy, he says no.
Well, so then maybe it's not slanted towards the offense. But those things are always impossible because the game of football rarely has just one human and one human with nothing but space to operate. That's just not the way football works. And in one-on-ones for wide receiver corner, those are always
offensive.
That is an offensive drill.
Oh, yeah, all the way. No pass rush.
Hey, they will
run a triple move.
Yeah, they will run.
Yeah.
And there's a video, the one that I enjoy talking about is a couple years ago when Sherman was out there, and it went viral. They're like, Sherman just negotiated his own contract. This guy talks so much. He's supposed to be a big-time player. And here he is getting smoked by somebody who was like, hold on. What if he is trying something new? What if any of that's going on? It's like nothing's sacred anymore. Everything is potential, either career-ending or career-boosting to all-pro level, especially with any clip that makes it out there.
You remember, I think I've told you, Kyle Shanahan showed that in their team meeting like the next day and said, like, hey, I respect this. He knew the media was there. He knows if he gets beat deep, it's going to be news. But he still tried. Whatever he was working on, he was going to work his technique and try it. He didn't care if he was, I'm going to be embarrassed if a clip goes online. I think Shanahan said, like, hey, we should all be like this. Don't worry about if someone puts a clip up if you get beat. It's called practice. We're working on things.
Hey, it's kind of unfair, isn't it? It's kind of unfair.
Really who cares if something's unfair? It's just stupid, actually. Stupid. Like, life's unfair. We know that.
And stupid.
I tell my kids all the time, life's unfair. Yeah, that's true. That's how it works, man. Hopefully it comes back your direction at some point. But it's just dumb, I think, to overly – one way or the other, good or bad, to kill somebody for something happening in practice or to pump them up as the next MVP is just dumb.
It's practice.
Hey.
It's about practice.
But I'm thinking what was so big about that Aaron Rodgers practice clip there is –
he looks good.
Aaron Rodgers is really enjoying his leadership role. You know, he became an NFLPA member. All of a sudden, he's the guy who's voting now for the NFLPA. He was speaking up about that. He was doing a lot of – look at him. He's becoming finally realizing that, hey, Aaron, I know you don't love a lot of the media members that cover this particular sport, but you are forever going to be one of the faces of this sport. And I like the fact that his big brain is getting involved in a little bit more stuff. Is that because you told him to do that, AJ?
Nope. I would never tell him to get more involved when it comes to PA and stuff like that.
Me neither, by the way. And that's, by the way, I think that's our.
I think he's even taken a step back
Really?
from when he jumped in. I think he said on our show, like, he jumped in, was all on board, and went to the meetings and realized, like, oh, this isn't really what they said it was, and stopped going.
That kind of sucks.
For those that don't know, you hear like NFLPA, it's like such an important thing, obviously, because when negotiations come up, you're NFLPA and you're NFL, like with billions of dollars being negotiated. That NFLPA slot is only liked by or wanted by a few people in every locker room. I have heard numerous times people get asked if they would like to do it in the middle of this meeting because they run a meeting like, I would like to nominate blah, blah, blah to be blah, blah, blah. And then they do the all in favor and that whole thing. But they have to ask the person that was nominated if they really want to do it. And I've heard on more than 10 occasions, no.
Good.
No chance am I doing that. And it ends up in situations where, we are where we are. What time are we live? All right, we're doing radio. Everybody get your fucks out.
Here we go. Fuck.
Zito. Connor.
Zito.
Yeah. Welcome back to the Pat McAfee Show, Friday, August 21st. Hour 2 begins right now. In this hour, we'll be joined by Michael Lombardi, former general manager in the NFL, former coach's assistant, front office assistant for the New England Patriots, a man who's plugged in and very Italian. We'll talk to him about what's going on in training camp, what he's hearing. And he also got on the internet the other day for an Ngakoue trade that was not actually real. Now, I will say this. If Lombardi's retweeting that, that's because he's expecting an Ngakoue trade to happen any day now. He still keeps in contact with a lot of general managers. He will probably give us an update on that thing, even though he got. And maybe some other news that he's thinking is potentially about to break, because right now we're in a world where people are going to need, a lot of players. You're going to see a lot of moves happening. People are going to be moving things, I think, even more so than in the past. I think there's going to be a lot of movement, especially with this COVID-19 situation, where people are going to have a deep roster. Can't wait to chat with him. There's a lot happening in the NFL world. We addressed and talked about Ron Rivera in the first hour. Nothing but love and respect for that man. Good luck as he kicks ass of lymph node cancer. We shared the story about being on the Colts team whenever Chuck was diagnosed with leukemia. Now the Chuck Strong Foundation has come from it, where they've raised a lot of money for cancer research. I've been lucky to be a part of that entire thing. And we talked about how our team rallied around the situation. We came together through the situation. And I think the Washington football team will be able to do the same thing, because I assume, just like Chuck, Ron Rivera is very well liked in that locker room, and that's a good way to kind of help them in their battle through cancer. So shout out to Ron Rivera. Everybody in the history of sports is on your side for this thing. We also talked about Aaron Rodgers becoming an incredible leader and being Jordan Love's mentor, being Jordan Love's role model, and taking this older vet, being trying to be pushed out of a town that you have helped out so much throughout your entire career. A general manager and a coach are trying to force you out of town, and you taking the high road and doing everything you can to protect the legacy of the team that you said just moments before they drafted somebody else to take your place that you wanted to retire as a member of that team. Aaron Rodgers being a good guy, doing the right thing is what everybody would say, but that's not easy to do, especially when you're trying to become the best player you can possibly be, so that the team that you're currently on and employed by can win a Super Bowl. The NBA playoffs tipped off last night again, second game of the first round of playoffs. LeBron's back. He scored 10 points. Lakers get a win. The Rockets win. The Heat win. And the Bucks beat the Magic here in Orlando, which is kind of rude. But everything is going.
AD is back. Is what you meant.
Anthony Davis played basketball yesterday. Good. Like a comedy routine while playing basketball. The boys are here at official AJ Hawk, at Darius Butler, at Boston Connor, Tone Diggs and Tyre on the couch, Zito with the incredible chain on his face, Jason McAfee, Frank Moraldo, Evan Foxy, Billy Mansuri. This is our last day in Orlando for Fight Week. Yeah. There's a lot of things we covered there. A lot of things we had to go through right there in the first 2 minutes of the show, or first 3 minutes of the second hour. AJ, what was something that we hadn't talked about yet, or maybe we did talk about, that you wanted to say, you know what, I got a little bit more to say about that?
Well, when you talk about the Ron Rivera situation in Washington, it makes me think of those players. Don't you think this is not a wake-up call, but it has to scare them? Like, hey, our coach is fighting through cancer. Like, I need to make sure I'm not messing around when I leave the facility.
Oh.
It's going to be a wake-up for that whole team, probably the whole league. Like, I don't want to bring something in that could potentially kill my coach.
Because we're talking about it strictly from a sports standpoint, where if your starting quarterback gets diagnosed positive on Saturday, they missed the game on Sunday. Now we have to think about those are the real conversations. And by the way, that's what people tweet us whenever we talk about that. Whenever we talk about, he's going to miss a game, I get a tweet from somebody who's like, you worried about him missing the game? It's like, well, I mean, I bet a lot of money, but I know, I understand that in the real world, there's a lot deeper conversation to be had. But this one, I mean, I don't know how much deeper you can get. If he's coming to work still, and I'd assume he's going to be wearing a gas mask. Is he going gas mask tech? I would assume he's got the best one possible. Yep. But that is something you got to think about. Coaches, their families, equipment staff, their families, trainers, their families, your teammates.
It's not a joke anymore. It's real for them. Like, hey, man, this guy's going to be going through chemo or radiation most likely. You can't be messing around and bringing something into this facility, because it could have a huge impact on him.
I still don't know how they're going to keep everybody. I mean, because what? Now, granted, for Ron Rivera, I would assume the players are going to be like, okay, everything's going to be heightened. Everything is going to be heightened. But in the NFL as a whole, I mean, you have a couple drinks, okay? You have a couple drinks, and you just, you let your guard down one time maybe. Maybe send a DM, maybe an invite, maybe anything like that. It comes into your house. You then see you later. And maybe the next morning when you wake up, you don't even think about that happening. And you go in there and all of a sudden, boom, bang, that whole team now. That is just those tiny little lapses could potentially be a team Super Bowl run coming to an end.
Yeah.
That is a real thing. And that is something, and I'm just thinking about myself personally, if I would have been able to do that when I was first year, second year, third year in the league, I'm like, there's a lot of things that pop up where you're like, you just let your guard down a little bit. So hopefully this is something Washington's like, we can't do that. And hopefully league-wide they'll be able to do it because I would like to see this season get played.
Do you think there's a chance he just coaches from the booth and communicates down to one coach and has like one coach come in so he limits the contact with everyone else, or is he going to be out there still?
They've been doing a lot of Zoom.
They've been doing Zooms.
I would assume he could do team meeting via Zoom. Like, you know.
Are you talking on game day, Carmen?
I'm just talking even in practice, like even next week when they're just trying to go through stuff, game plans and stuff like that. Like, can he just be up in the sky instead of down on the field just because there's so much more risk when you're down there instead of isolating by yourself?
Yeah, I guess he could. He could go up in a tower or something, or he could sit on a golf cart by himself and try to stay far away. No, pro places don't really have the towers anymore.
Yeah, so you get that crane lift, right?
It's all on its own. It's its own camera now. You don't have to be up there.
We know why.
Was
head coach up at Notre Dame decided to kill a kid.
Oh no!
Oh yeah, that did happen.
Oh, that's right.
Kill him. I mean, did the coach killed him?
I don't know, 150-mile-an-hour winds. Kid didn't want to go up. Oh, yeah, you want your filming job next week? Get up there and film practice.
That was pretty negligent.
Yeah. Oh, that thing's coming down.
Was it really 150-mile-an-hour wind?
Yeah, it was something ridiculous like that.
Negligent, by the way, good word. But now they all have to strap in up there. There's a lot of things that have to happen. But jeez,
now they're all in one. They don't even need a human. It's
as soon as we talked about that lift, by the way, did you see Ty? Do you remember that ad read he had, 15 minutes ago? Could barely even open his eyes.
He brought so much energy.
As soon as that thing is like, oh, that lift is problematic. In a lot of pro places, though,
I know Lou would never put a kid up there.
No, of course not.
Listen, I've said multiple times, Brian Kelly might as well just throw that kid off the scissor lift himself. He signed his death warrant when he made him crawl up there.
Come on. By the way, I will say for that kid, incredibly committed. I would have told him to go hell. I'm very thankful. Those people are very important. The video people. I gave a shout out to the athletic trainer and the equipment managers the other day about how vital they are to the team. Also, there's an entire video team that I didn't mention, but it just kind of falls into the football world that I'm not sure they get talked about enough either. I mean, you're talking about people that go up on these lifts that are like 50 feet high. They're getting targeted during field goal kicking sessions. I mean, there's balls flying at them.
Yep.
Their job is to stay steady. They have to film everything, zoom in. And then immediately after that, by the way, not only are they doing that, they're running around, getting clips. There's hard cams. Now they have to go slice and dice those, okay, into very, very, very small subjects, okay? This is third and long. These are the clips from it. This is third and short. This is that. There is a lot of people involved.
And
if it's not uploaded by the time your coach is done with practice and they want to watch it by position group, you're going to get killed if you're the video guy.
I remember we went to those meetings immediately after practice. I forget what year it was. We went to immediately after practice. Everybody watched the film. So I think they were trying to cut something in the morning a little bit shorter. So we'll carry over today a little longer so that tomorrow is a little bit shorter. And those video guys sprinting off of the field basically immediately after the practice, during going in there, slice it. I assume the sweat is just pouring out of them. And then it's like if they didn't have it up, by the way. Guys wouldn't even shower, by the way. They're like, hey, let's go knock out this meeting right now so that we can get out of here. And those guys are just sweating like Wi-Fi. Please go over there. I'm not going to have every play named for you guys. Here you go. That is a vital. But those families are now involved in this. I mean, it is really an entire building having to come together. And I'll be very eager to see how
Well, those video people have they have more responsibility now, too. They had to set up all the Zoom stuff, too, I bet, for these coaches. Being a technical guy, and old school coaches take pride in not knowing how to use anything.
Well, and players, too.
Yeah,
I mean,
right.
imagine meeting
how many calls and texts did these video guys get?
Oh, my God. Ooh. I love, though, whenever the film went to iPads. I almost dropped that. I love Zito. I love iPads. When the film went to iPads, and Chuck talked about that's where he would watch it, right? He basically got that film as soon as the practice was over. They were just sending it to his iPad. He just watched it straight through. But guys, right? They're like, hey, good for you. Okay, we got technology. Here's the playbook. Take it home. You'll be able to watch it through. Guys didn't know that the team knew exactly how long guys were on those iPads.
Oh, yeah.
Guys, they knew exactly.
Somebody got exposed.
Oh, my God. I forget. I think
Jamarcus Russell.
I think. Well, not only
those were DVDs, blank DVDs.
Yeah, they didn't know that he didn't know that there was nothing on the DVDs. Which, by the way, that's classic move. At least got to pop that in to press play at one point, which he learned. I mean, you learned that lesson. But the iPads, team meeting, right? Nobody knew that they could check exactly how long people were watching it. And Chuck goes, he does this entire speech. And Chuck wasn't a guy that wanted to call people out in front of everybody. Like, he didn't want to embarrass people or whatever. He goes, we give you guys the iPads and we say, hey, watch this. And you guys go, yeah, I'll do it. There's somebody in this room right now shitting around you. That is a player for our team that has watched 0 minutes of film. We can see every time you log into the iPad. And everybody's like, sits in the room. They're like, oh.
Haven't opened it since October.
I don't even remember the login for this thing. I mean, okay. He's like, we can see everything. So then guys got so creative. I mean,
just turn it on and sit on the desk.
Sit through.
Yeah, for sure.
I'll never forget AQ, obviously, and I were very tight or whatever. And he was watching film, and it was a play that he wasn't in or whatever, right? But he wouldn't skip to the next one. He was sitting there letting the play go all the way through, and then when his play came back up, he would like break down. I'm like, can we not just skip the plays? He's like, I want them to think I watched every single rep of everybody. And I'm like, oh my God, now you're gaming the system. Now you're worse than the guy that didn't even watch it, AQ. He's like, I'm watching my film. It's just different. And then there was guys that they would have, there was somebody that created something creative that would come down and tap something. So like it would act as if
like a Tinder swiper.
It was one of the really smart kids on our team. I'll tell you off the air. I don't want to bury him, but yeah, he had something that like one of those swipers. The thing had somebody that did it. Guys were trying to game these iPads so much, as opposed to spending their energy just looking at the actual film, which would have been probably good.
Pays dividends.
Probably make more money too.
I love the video guys. They were probably one of the more important people, when game planning, because you hit them up, hey, I need third down, hey, I need 12 personnel, and they give you specific cut-ups at their own point. Now guys are watching iPads at practice. Like, you come out of your series, and they got it on the sideline, the Microsoft Surface.
By the way, every guy wishes that the Apple would have gave in there instead of Microsoft, but Microsoft Surface is just as good as the iPad, I guess. But
not even close. But yeah,
I've never used the Surface. I've never used the Surface.
There's a reason the sidelines have Microsoft Surfaces, and every player in the NFL is issued an iPad.
True.
That's all you need to know.
Yeah, but you're not allowed to talk about it because remember
they say iPads though, like, oh, I take my iPad home, I'm studying. Like, they talk about it. The NFL doesn't want them to.
Hey, coach wants to see you. Bring your iPad.
Yeah, exactly. You're cut. See ya.
Were you obviously massive? D-Butt was. I feel like D-Butt's real superpower on the field was that he knew what was coming. I assume that middle linebacker, that is a tireless film study position as well.
I mean, yeah, some people are more.
So you didn't watch
open to it? Yeah.
Jeez. AJ's you're a field guy?
No, not a field guy at all. No, I had to have a good idea of what was happening. I didn't like it. I was not a guy who would just guess what the other team is running. I'm sure you've had plenty of teammates. Oh, outside zone, and it's never the call that he makes. Like, I was never that guy. But yeah, I watched a good amount of stuff.
I love Clint Session still to this day. That guy knew what was coming every play. I mean, was he right every time? No, but when he was, there was a big collision. Clint Session brought a hammer with him at all times and got paid for it. And inevitably, I think he knocked a lot of people out himself a couple times, had a great career, and I was loving watching him play. But there's some players that are able just to know exactly what's happening. Troy Polamalu is that guy.
It's tendencies.
Luke Kuechly.
Yeah, Luke, definitely.
Anybody else? Anybody on the Colts? I mean, I feel like you knew what was happening, but you were a nickel, so it wasn't like as prominent as being able to tell that you knew what you were doing. Because if your guy was out of the play, it didn't matter. Yeah. But is there anybody that we played that was on the Colts that you knew?
Twan was another good film guy. Twan was
Antoine Bethea, by the way.
Yeah, my fault. Antoine Bethea. Gerard Powers, another film guy. And some guys, it's not for everybody because some people, like, you can watch too much film as well. Almost kind of freezes you because you think, oh, alert this, alert that, and then you kind of. So I would just like to eliminate things more so than try to guess what's coming. Like, okay, I see this. They don't run this, and that. So now I can kind of limit my menu. So that's how it helped me out.
So there is a lot of times, though, before a play, you know exactly what the other team's doing.
Yeah, because coaches, I mean, they're like players. They have tendencies. So
there's only so many plays they can run. They're just going to window dress it, make it look different. And then, like Darius being a smart DB, like a lot of great ones I played with, they know what's their final formation. When they get to that, due to their splits and whatever, they can run these 3 route combinations. Like, you can narrow it down. I think eliminate things. That's the best part.
And they like to move certain personnel guys around. So if Travis Kelce is in a different spot than he usually is, okay, something's up. So it's tendencies.
Well, AJ, whenever they move people around, normally with the incredible scheme they were running, AJ had to run gassers with the running.
That was early. That was early in my career. Yeah, teams would play with us.
The thought of you're
just yelling the whole time as I'm going inside. I'm trying to change the Ripper Liz call as I'm running across the field, and I'm trying to yell at our sidelines to check out of this defense. Let's check the zone.
Stressful.
Oxygen tank as soon as you go to the sideline. I just ran 10 gassers and got ran over. That was just Series 1, AJ. This is going to continue because the Patriots did have success with it. So that means it's coming again 14 minutes after the hour. We got to get to a break. Michael Lombardi, former general manager, will join us. What's going on in training camps that we don't know about?
Let's ask Mike if he would allow somebody to hit Gronk the way that safety or DB hit Gronk.
That video went around the internet, obviously, because I think Tom Brady even tweeted it because it showcased Tom throwing a dime. Ball spinning very, very tight, landing in a bucket, and it's Gronk doing what Gronk does, which is making a big catch and sprinting. And then there is this late shot from a safety, I would assume, comes in and just flattens Gronk. And obviously, the Stooges that didn't play, their take was, Gronk got crushed there. And it's like, I agree, he did.
They both took it, though.
But there was no way Gronk thought that was going to happen.
I thought he was jogging it out, like he was he was finishing the play, and then all of a sudden, bam.
Boom. Is BA running full speed, live drills?
Hey, save those hits.
Do players hate Gronk?
Oh, see, this is
his own players?
No.
Oh, you're saying that everyone on your team always liked you?
No. I don't think that's.
But they're not going to maliciously hit somebody.
They're not going to come at. They're not going to come after you in practice for you and hit you 60 yards down the field if they don't like you.
Well, especially
if they do, you're going to get in a fight.
How many? Maybe though. Maybe they're like, let's see if Gronk can take a hit, or maybe Gronk said, "Hey, I haven't taken a hit in a bit."
Gronk easily could have been like, "Hey, man, give it to me." Like in this period today, it might have been a specific team period. Like, hey,
I need it. I need it.
I need full
This.
go.
And somebody was like, "Well."
Gronk was quoted. He was quoted saying the first couple of days felt weird. It felt really fast to him. Everyone felt super fast around him. He said now it's slowed down a little bit.
It's CBD.
So what did it take him? It took him 3 days to get back into
probably like a day and a half.
At first it seemed fast after being out for a couple of years, but 3 days into it, I'm
back.
Bruce Arians said it looks like he's 5-6 years ago. I assume Gronk feels the same exact way, and Tom looks like he's throwing like he's 25. That a Buccaneers team is.
How do you feel about that?
I hate it. I hate every single second of it. And Bob Gronkowski also said Brady throws harder now than he did when he first got into the league.
Well, that's because the TB12 treatment. And also, good news out of New England, Cam Newton starter.
Yep.
They named it?
Jared Stidham's out with a leg injury.
Devastating. Devastating.
That's phantom
He'll be
pain.
back. He'll be back.
That's what?
Phantom pain. It's how you only use access 10% of your brain. So the 10% of Jared Stidham's brain is like, yeah, I got a chance against Cam, but the 90% that you don't access, like the unconscious, is like you don't have a chance. So we're going to create a phantom pain.
This guy.
So you don't practice, and we're going to save your confidence for later years when you actually might be a quarterback.
We would like everybody to know that the opinions of that Italian right there do not reflect that of the rest of the show.
Pain.
Yeah, but Stidham does have a leg injury.
He has a leg injury. He's grinding through it. He's still practicing. A lot of grit.
What, are you pondering? What did you?
Don't. I am. Ponder that one.
It's the Pat McAfee show.
Last night I was roaming around Canal and Bourbon, and it was a lot of purple. And when you get that Mercedes-Benz Dome, and it starts getting loud and it gets rompous, obviously, not only for momentum and swings like that it can help, but for the defensive line to get a jump. I think that is a big deal. A lot of freak athletes on the field, and kickers are a spectacle no matter what happens. Whenever you're in those high-pressure moments, you normally fall back on your fundamentals. You normally fall back on your technique. You try to take your brain out of it. Cade York hits a beautiful ball.
One person up in the parking
And think about him warming up right now. There's just 3 dudes in suits breaking down every single move he makes during his warm-up. What a wild scene here for Trevor Lawrence.
Quarterback, number 9, Joe Burrow.
You're supposed to be some draft expert, and you say Joe Burrow was a 5th-round draft pick before this year. Now he's number 1 overall. What do you know? What do you know, Todd?
Tim, you are so handsome, it's ridiculous. What do you think has been happening in this first quarter? Why has Joe Burrow been stumped by this Clemson defense?
I think Brent Venables is the best DC in the country, and it's honestly not a shock to me. He did this to Tua last year.
Odell Beckham just stopped by.
Odell's very excited.
Odell's happy with the 52-yard attempt coming from the kid from Clemson. I've seen Odell make this with a spinning ball. And BT Potter puts it through from 52 in Odell's. Not in your face. It wasn't in your face. It wasn't in your face. You weren't looking at it.
That's a career high for BT Potter.
Bro, imagine Joe Burrow just having to stand in there and know that Isaiah Simmons is scot-free right in your suckle. That's bad. No chance Alberto Rivera would turn that over.
He was in the Buccos organization.
Summer's in full action. We're thankful for our sponsor, Manscaped, for keeping us fresh. Sun's out, buns out, and hopefully our pubes are not out. Manscaped offers our right tools to keep your hair groomed above and below the belt. Talking points, do not read. Manscaped is dedicated to helping your levels up in your full body grooming game. They actually just released their Shears 2.0 nail kit, which is perfect add-on, and their Lawnmower 2.0 or 3.0 or the perfect package. The Shears 2.0 is a luxury 4-piece nail kit featuring tempered stainless steel tools and includes slash-tipped tweezers, rounded point scissors, fingernail clippers, and a medium grit-in nail file.
That was a really good way to sell that. You know sex sells, Z. You know.
Yeah. This is the best trim on the market for those of you that need a shave the chest up or the ball cleanup. This third generation trimmer features a skin-safe technology to reduce manscaping accidents.
Oh.
I hate when that happens.
Yeah.
But I love Manscaped. I'm going to call the action real quick.
You got it.
Get 20% off free shipping with the code PATM at manscaped.com. That's 20% off with free shipping at manscaped.com and use code PATM. Summer is here. It's time to manscape.
Way attaboy. Yeah. Way to go, Zito. Way to go, Zito. The NBA, is there games on today?
Oh, yeah. We got another full slate.
Who do we have today? What should we be looking forward to? Who should we be betting on? What are your thoughts? What's your lock of the day?
I mean, we got Celtics-Sixers. The Sixers are still terrible at basketball, so I would probably take the Celtics and continue with that. And then we also have Luka Doncic and the Mavericks taking on the Kawhi Leonard and playoff P Clippers.
Incredible
tonight.
focus there while two professional athletes try to figure out which microphone was theirs and where it was going. You like the Celtics, not just because because you're from Boston, but because you truly believe that the Sixers stink at basketball.
Yeah, well, they're getting hot at the right time. Not a lot of distractions. They don't have families. Not a lot of our superstar players, rather, have families outside of the bubble. So there's really not much except for basketball, and that benefits Boston more than anybody.
Okay, let's talk about the – yeah, it is a little insider information.
Wait, are they more prone to distraction to knock them off course than other teams?
Well, I mean, LeBron James is, hanging out in locker rooms and not going on the pregame warm-ups and reading first pages of books. And Kemba Walker, he doesn't have to worry about that stuff just because he's locked in. The only thing he thinks about is basketball. He's 31. He's single. He lives alone. He only practices Jaylen Brown, 23
I would argue Bron wifed up kids.
Yeah.
I would think he is much more at ease in the bubble than a single person in the bubble. Just personally, I would think the mind would potentially wander a little bit if you're a 31-year-old single man. But each situation is situational, and I would assume that Kemba Walker and LeBron, both big-time readers, maybe that's how they're spending their time. But NBA, we have some breaking news, I guess, and it's not from us. It's from the T. Ross podcast, Terrence Ross, who is currently a member of the Orlando Magic, who are 1-1 right now with the Milwaukee Bucks. I got a chance to join Terrence on his podcast the other night, the T. Ross podcast. He and his co-host, who they call Potsy, strictly because he was the only white guy on the team, and from Happy Days, the white guy's name was Potsy, I believe. So I don't know the guy's actual name, but it was a great conversation, good people, and I joked to Terrence about how short this offseason is going to be because I thought that was the plan for the NBA. It's like, hey, bubble's going to run until October-ish or September-ish. That's going to back up into the season, only a short offseason. Then you get back into the next season. And he told me this.
Let's get you guys a show, man. Let's do it. Now, Grant, what's the offseason? Your offseason is what, like 2 weeks this year?
No, it's actually going to be a little – bro, actually, after this, whenever we get sent home or if we win it all, whatever, they're not starting until maybe January now. So we're going to have some
March.
time.
I saw possibly March.
Bro, I saw March possibly. They're trying not to do so much of the bubble next season. They're just trying to make sure that if we do the bubble, they're going to try to do it so we can transition into having people back into like the stands again. But they're trying to
know that. I thought it was like
wild,
October.
Bro. Initially, they were going to do that. Then they pushed it back to like, okay, now it's going to be maybe late November, early December. Then it got pushed back to January. So it's just going to keep getting pushed back, bro.
That's right. And what you're about to hear me ask there, I believe I'm on today's episode of the T. Ross podcast. Good conversation, good basketball talk, good everything talk. I enjoy him when he comes on this show and on that show. I said, I think that's breaking news is what I said. And he was like, no, that's been out there or whatever. Then yesterday, Adam Silver, I believe it was breaking news. Adam Silver said that they're delaying the start of next season until at least December. Mm-hmm. Here we're here in January, maybe February or March. I think I did not know that. The T. Ross podcast broke that to me. That seems like the smart decision. But if that means they think that you would potentially have to bubble for at least the next few months, what do they know that we don't know? And are we going to be bubbling for the next year? Is that what's going to be happening?
Vaccine, they probably have some sort of idea, at least more than we do, on when that might be possibly coming.
That's good news for the NBA, though, for the players. It's like, okay, at least you got like 4 months, 3 months off after this, so go after it. You can go after and get it. And maybe that's a way to frame it in your mind, like, okay, although I am locked up away from everything, we're going to have our longest offseason that we've ever had probably. That's good for them.
And plus, when they come back too, right? Even like there'll be more of a break where people can miss basketball. They won't just like get it and then they're right back into it. It gives them a chance for people to actually be like, okay. And if it starts in March, when typically March Madness is, which is probably dead, it'll be nice to still get the fix then.
Ty, is baseball happening? Have you heard anybody talk about baseball, like the play on the field? Trevor Bauer, complete game, 1 hit. I heard that talked about. Aside from that, it's all drama, right, in baseball. Is baseball happening right now?
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, same deal. This would be normally in like a regular full season where it's like the dog days of summer. It's right in the middle of it. So a couple more teams have had positive cases, but what they're doing now is like if one team has one guy test positive, they've been canceling their games. So things are kind of getting pushed back still, but there are still games every single day. Teams are still playing.
Let's not forget about the Slam Diego Padres, who have now hit grand slams in 4 straight games.
Tatis.
Record. Oh, yeah.
Tatis Jr.
He hit one.
Say sorry.
Huh?
Did he say sorry again?
Yeah. No, he did not.
He better.
Hosmer,
Yeah,
4 straight games, grand slam, Slam Diego Padres.
So is this the year of the Padres? Is that what we're talking about, or are they hot too early, Ty? What do you think?
I said last night I think they're going to win the NL West. They're very good pitching though. Their bullpen kind of stinks. I mean, it all matters. But if you're scoring 13 runs a game, you're going to be winning quite a few of them.
If you live by high scoring, all you got to do is get cold a couple times, and it gets bad. Those bats get cold, you're in a bad spot. I would just so happen to be at West Virginia at the exact same time as the Beeline basketball team that was making runs in the March Madness. We had Pitt Snoggle pulling up from half court. We had Gansey. We had the younger Beeline. That squad, Joe Alexander, that squad would just pull up from anywhere. And when they were hot, we made to the Elite Eight at one point. And West Virginia was insane in Morgantown, obviously. Absolutely insanity. But they got cold. It was over. Lost. It feels like in basketball, the same type of thing happens. I would assume in baseball, your bats get cold if you're a hot bat team, and that's all you rely on. You're kind of screwed.
Yeah, pretty much, yeah. If you don't have good pitching and you have guys that are getting into slumps, that they will be screwed, especially in that division that has very good starting pitching.
I'm going to stay warm just in case they need a replacement player.
Smart.
Every time I get in the batter's box professionally, I make contact. All you got to do is get a little power behind it. Maybe we score some runs. Dwayne Haskins tweeted this morning, people really wake up hating. And I assume that is about the practice film that we saw of Alex Smith taking a drop back, a little crossing route with a completion for Alex Smith and a miss by Dwayne Haskins. And we, didn't say that didn't look bad because it obviously did, but it's practice, it's warm-ups. Who knows what Dwayne Haskins was working on there? That's why you have to take all these clips from training camp and these practice clips with a grain of salt because you have no clue what's going on. What if Dwayne Haskins, like AJ said, was working on a new release? What if he was trying to maybe get a quicker release somehow or maybe a different throw and it just so happened to go high? And now are people trying to shun him into not trying to expand his game? Are people trying to tell him not to work on things? No. I think Dwayne Haskins showed last year that he could be a great quarterback in the league. I think it's mostly in between the ears as opposed to the arm talent that he has to figure out, which is all quarterbacks. And I think Alex Smith getting back out there is obviously great for him. I think that would be good film study. But now they also have to deal with the Ron Rivera lymph node thing. I mean, there's a lot to go on in that Washington football team. Excited to see how they handle it. To join us now is a man who's been around the NFL for his entire life. Very, very, very Italian man. Friend of the show, ladies and gentlemen, Michael Lombardi.
Yeah! Lombardi! Congratulations on the wedding and the honeymoon. And I just want to know who's eating at that table over there. I mean, that looks like that looks like the longest dining table I've ever seen. Are we having any meals over there?
We had a team dinner 2 nights ago, I believe. There was a team dinner over here. Everybody was sitting down. We could not take up all of the seats, obviously. But boy, when you walk into a drug lord mansion like this and you see that table, you can't help but be excited about what has happened in this room before, I'd assume.
I love it. I love it. Have you found the secret tunnels yet?
Well, there is a couple walls that have fallen down, and there's so there has been some things that have happened, but we have not found any hidden money or secret tunnels yet. We will dive in shortly. Let's dive into the NFL with training camp right now. We can start right now with Dwayne Haskins, Alex Smith, Ron Rivera, new team name. I mean, there's a lot of distraction potential, adversity potential, but also with this Ron Rivera thing, he's loved by his players. This could bring them together. What are your thoughts on the entire situation in Washington?
Well, I mean, there's a lot going on there, right? There's a lot on that bone. I mean, you're dealing with the front office, the hiring, the change of the name, the whole culture from last year. And I think what Dwayne Haskins told you before I jumped on, there's a lot of hate on Twitter. I mean, look, they're just he's trying to get better every day, and we got to give him the opportunity to get better. Everybody's an expert with a keyboard, as opposed to just out there doing it. So I think Rivera's got his challenges ahead of him. There's no doubt. They got to fix the offensive line. They got rid of the running back that they were counting on in Geis for good reasons. And they have an older running back, Peterson, who's got to come through for them along with Bryce Love. So a lot of question marks. I admire Alex Smith for coming back. I don't know if he's 100%. I don't see him push off that knee like I hope he could. But I think it's a remarkable comeback by Alex.
I think so, too, and I think he'll be good for Dwayne. I think if you listen to Patrick Mahomes talk about what Alex Smith was and meant to him, I assume Alex will do the same thing with Dwayne Haskins. And all the while, by the way, Ron Rivera has to beat lymph node cancer while doing it. I mean, there is a litany of things over there to watch with the Washington football team. Also, a litany of things to watch with the New England Patriots. I know that you know people within the New England Patriots. You were there for a long time. I believe your son coaches there. Videos have come out of Cam Newton at practice being Cam Newton, which nobody thought was going to be able to happen with Bill Belichick. Now there's a report of Stidham battling through a leg injury and probably sitting out a little bit. What are you hearing from Patriots camp about Cam Newton, about Bill Belichick, about that team as a whole?
I I think they're coming together pretty well. I think Cam's personality has been infectious, and I think that the team has gravitated towards him. I think that was always the concern if you were Chicago or Jacksonville and you didn't want to upset the incumbent quarterback, Denver. So I think Cam has that unique ability to unify the locker room. I think they're all learning through and struggling through the offense as everybody is. I think anybody who judges anything today in practice in the National Football League is making a huge mistake because it's a lot of on-the-field training. They're trying to condense a lot of things in one section. So, I hear Cam's working his tail off. He's running. He's making mistakes, which are the best thing you can do. Is learn from your mistakes. I think Stidham, once he gets healthy, he'll get back out there. Brian Hoyer has been somewhat consistent. So I think pretty much everybody's content in New England in terms of where they're going. They're nowhere near where they need to be, but this is just the part of the process.
I love hearing stats on how people are doing in the first 3 days of practice, especially on the offensive side, because the offense, they have no idea where each other are going to be. They don't know anything. And normally, we got two defenders sitting here on the couch. Normally, the defense win early because it's see ball, get ball, and then you don't even really see either side of the team until a few weeks in. That's why the no preseason game is going to be so interesting because you're not really going to get a chance to see your team take on another team until later. Let's talk about a new team that is really picked up the conversation piece here, and that's the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. We are seeing the videos of Tom's arm being a live arm, which was the big question in Bruce Arians' offense. We're seeing Gronk make big-time catches. Bruce Arians says he looks like he's 5 to 6 years ago. His back is healed. He feels like he loves the game again. He's taking big shots in practice, which we don't know if he asked for those or not. That's a wild thing to happen. What are you thinking about Tom, the Buccaneers, how Gronk's doing, and most importantly, how Tom's looking?
Well, I think Tom, look, it never was about arm strength with Tom. I thought Tom's arm strength last year was really good. I think that's the easy thing to see with Tom. I mean, Peyton at the end of his career, you felt like the neck was really debilitating the arm. You knew he didn't have enough on the ball. He knew it, which is why he walked away. I don't think that's the case with Tom. Tom always had a strong arm. I think it's going to be interesting to see how well he accurately throws the ball down the field. And knowing Tom, he'll work hard at it. And I think the Bucs, the only thing about the Bucs that is going to be interesting to evaluate is how teams are going to play them so much differently than they did last year. Last year, they were waiting for the Bucs to make mistakes. This year, teams are going to have to be aggressive. They're going to have to take advantage of some of the liabilities their defense shows. Can Shaq Barrett get all those sacks again? Can they rush the passer? Can Ndamukong Suh contribute like he did last year? I think those are the questions. The skill players are going to be great. Evans, Gronk, O.J. Howard, Cameron Braid, all these guys that they have that can make plays. I think they're going to be really good. I think the question is how teams play them is what Bruce needs to figure out because they're going to play them a lot differently.
LaShawn McCoy as well. LaShawn McCoy comes from the Kansas City Chiefs as a former GM and a man who has been a part of that entire process of building a roster. Do you just watch the Kansas City Chiefs put all these contracts together and say, how the hell are they managing to do this? Or are you watching it going, that's great work with the cap over there?
Oh, I think it's great work. I think they have a team that's mentally tough, Pat. I think they have an unselfish team. I think what Mahomes did with his contract was basically allow Chris Jones to get his contract done, which was really nice. And then obviously they took care of Kelsey. I think it's really important that this era of football is you've got to recognize the players that are doing what they do for you. And even if they have a contract, you're going to have to do something about it. Melvin Ingram, for example. I mean, Tom Telesco out at the Chargers. Melvin Ingram's a really good player. And Melvin Ingram's on the last year of his deal. He's sitting out of practice. You're going to have to do something about his contract. This idea of you signed it, you got to play for it, I don't think that works. That tears your locker room up. And I think that's where you have to be as a cap guy. You have to set your cap around your best player. If you, like Jacksonville, if you start bringing players in and paying them more than the guys that are already there, it becomes a problem. And so the locker room becomes really upset. Like, how do I get money here? Do I have to go somewhere else to get paid? And I think that's what the Chiefs have done a great job. They've paid their own before they paid someone else.
Hey, Chris Ballard talked about that very, very heavily whenever he had like $100 million in cap space. And I was like, who are you bringing in? Are you going to pay anybody? He was like, I want people to know that if you play well here, you're going to get rewarded. Like he said, I want people to know that if you play well, you will get a big payday and you don't have to go somewhere else. And I that was very interesting for me to hear that was his main mission because he was very patient with his money and everybody was coming after him. They're like, why don't you sign this guy? Why don't you sign sign this guy. Even me, I was like, this guy's on the market. You have the money to get him. He's like, I want our team to know that if you work hard here and you play well, you will get rewarded. I'm like, that's that's good culture. That's a way to build a good culture right there.
It's the only way to build culture. And what happens is every contract you sign, there's a residual effect of that contract. That contract represents what you will tolerate. It's why the Patriots, they have a ton of cap room now because of Hightower opting out, because of Chung opting out, because of Cannon opting out. They can't bring a guy in that's going to offend Cam Newton because they're recognizing what Cam Newton has done, what his contract is. So they have to be very careful about what they do, or else Cam's saying, well, man, you just cheated me out of money, man. Like, why is that? I understand that. You as an executive, you got to understand that. You can't always see it through your eyes. Remember, this ain't fantasy football. That's a locker room, and you got to keep the locker room intact. Ballard's right.
That's incredible.
Mike, AJ Hawk here. You talked about Melvin Ingram and his hold in as opposed to a hold out. Do you think it works for him? And if it does, like, are we going to see more players do this?
I talked about it on my pod. I don't know. If I was Tom Telesco, I would rather have him hold out than hold in. I may not fine him for holding out. I may just say, hey, look, dude, just stay away. We'll figure this out. But, you're holding in. It sends a bad message to these other guys who are working their tails off. How do I tolerate you not working and somebody else? So for me, I would have rather had him not been there. But you've got to do something about this. I mean, he's a really good player. Bosa's gotten paid. You're going to have to do something with these players. You've got a ton of cap room, moving into a new stadium. I think you got to do something. I would have never, as a general manager, I would have never tolerated the hold in. I would have rather had him hold out and made a deal with them on the fine money.
Okay, so the new CBA, though, the Chargers can't take any money from him as long as he's there. Now, I get so the new CBA has kind of changed the way holdouts will look in the future, and I would assume that players and agents, whenever that CBA was signed with the hold-in possibility, they knew that the hold-in was a chance, I guess. But, man, that's a very weird thing because when you're holding out, classic holdout before the CBA where guys wouldn't come, everybody in the locker room understood it was like, hey, that guy's trying to do his business. Like, that guy's got to do his business. That guy's got to do his thing. You do whatever. When you get here, we'll catch you up. When the person's there, and that'd be a very weird thing to be like, hey, man, I'm dying here. I just got 45 reps. Do you think maybe you take one? I mean, maybe. And he's
Pat, it's why Parcells used to always bring the whole team out. Like, if you were hurt, right, and you had to do some form of rehab. Obviously, if you were in a hospital, that wasn't. But Parcells, Belichick, those guys, everybody came out to practice. And then you worked on the other side of the field, so the players knew that you were doing your work as they're doing their work, and being not healthy is an excuse to get out of work, unless obviously medically you get clear. But whatever you can do medically, whether it's ride a bicycle, whether it's, put your hands in a bunch of foam rubber and just start working on your wrist strength, whatever it is, you were going to do it because that message needs to show the other players. I think you can't alienate the locker room that way.
Man, that's incredible to hear, especially out of the Patriots organization, because you would think that that's the type of stuff they don't think about. It's robotic. We do this, we do this, we do this. But the thought that there's actually attention to detail and maintaining your locker room in a good fashion leads back to our point from earlier, which is like camaraderie and a team liking each other is massive and crucial to the team's success. I mean, that is just crucial to the team's success. It never gets talked about. How is that something you can judge? How do you know if you're bringing somebody in that's good for your culture?
I've never seen a good team that didn't like each other. I've never seen a championship team that didn't collectively work together. I've never seen it in my 35-year career. I mean, look, I'm a huge 76er fan, and I watch the Sixers play, and they play like they don't like one another. And to me, everybody talks about what's the issues. So the issues are they really don't play with this. They don't play as brothers. They play as individuals, and that's a challenge. And some of the great teams in our league, the Houston Oilers, were probably one of the greatest franchise teams. They had more collection of talent than anybody. They never won. They got to the conference final, the divisional final against Buffalo, and they lost that lead. That roster was littered with great players, but they never played like a team. They never liked one another. There was always dissension in their locker room. This just doesn't work.
And I feel like you can tell if a team has a bunch of talent and they're not winning, there's a good chance that team in the locker room is not as tight as you would think. I think that's before we let you go here, and I can't thank you enough for your time. Every time I talk to you, I enjoy the hell out of it. Great photos in the back. You got some books back there. You really upped your backdrop game, which I can respect.
my other office. This is like my office downtown in my little beach town that I come down to do the VEASAN show. So I'm here. So it works. I got Jerry Rice over there on the wall.
Hey, the MVP of tailgating right there, that guy.
Yeah, the first player I ever drafted in my NFL career. So I got him up on the wall. I got Cleveland Stadium over here.
What a flex!
So, yeah, this is a little tribute to some of the great moments in my career.
Hey, so the first draft you were ever a part of, you guys drafted Jerry Rice. That has to feel pretty good.
I was the first draft I ever did. I was in my hotel room in the Houston Marriott, right near the Astrodome, and Coach Walsh called me up to the room and said he was watching TV on this large TV with just a little screen in the middle of it, and said, "Hey, get me every tape you can on Jerry Rice." And I did, and 6 months later, we were trying to trade up to get Eddie Brown, and we settled on Jerry Rice, and that was the first pick of my NFL career.
He's terrible on a microphone, but boy, on a football field, he is next level out there. What a great guy, I'd assume.
Dwight Clark had the greatest line. After the first practice, Dwight Clark came off the field and said, "That dude is smooth and going to be rich."
And he is and was. Let's talk before we let you go, and I can't thank you enough. You got God on the internet the other day. This is something that happens to all of us that are on the internet. I mean, this is a fake tweet can get the best of them. It's got me before.
I'm such an idiot.
No. But I said this as soon as the group. By the way, the group there was a spike in group text conversation about Michael Lombardi as soon as this happened. By the way, the boys are like, "Oh no, they got Mike. They got Mike. They got Mike. Oh no." And I said this was my immediate answer to that is, you're normally pretty plugged in to when somebody's probably getting moved. So that means you were probably expecting Ngakoue to potentially get moved. So whenever you saw that, you lit up. You're like, okay, he is moving. Is that something? Is that how that happened? I was making an excuse.
That's how it happened. So let me give you the whole background. So I got a tip from a general manager in the league before I sent out the first tweet. And I can read you the tweet. He said he expected it to happen today or tomorrow, but they weren't involved. And so then I talked to another GM, and they said, "Yeah, I think it's going to happen fairly quickly." And then when I saw the thing, and I saw the kid had Schefter's whole thing, I didn't even look for the blue line.
You gotta,
and it got me, and I'm an idiot, and so I know, but. Look, then I sent out my tweet. Now, I just wrote a column today for The Athletic about it. So apparently, this is a little like scuttlebutt. Apparently, my man David Blaine Caldwell, I call him David Blaine Caldwell because he's a magician. I mean, really, the GM of the Jaguars has been able to endure 7 years of a lot of losing down there and keep his job. So he was very upset with my tweet. In fact, he called the team to complain, thinking they leaked it to me when they really didn't. It was somebody else that leaked it to me. So Ngakoue is going to get traded. It's just a question of when. I don't know where. I've never pretended to know where, but I know he's getting traded, and it was going to happen the other day. I think it'll happen over the weekend.
Okay. Well, Mr. Lombardi, I appreciate you being plugged in. The internet gets everybody. You just got to get more than you got, though. Ladies and gentlemen, former GM legend, Michael Lombardi.
Yeah, Lombardi! Appreciate it. How long's the honeymoon going for?
Hey, don't you worry about that, all right?
I got it. I'll talk to you later.
Yeah, you got it. Ladies and gentlemen, Michael Lombardi, we got to wrap up hour 2 here on the Pat McAfee Show. We'll get to a break. We'll see you on the other side. It is Friday, August 21st.
Hi, how's it going? My name's Pat McAfee. Used to hold balls for Adam Vinatieri. Now I'm in his home state. College game day is absolutely electric. And Brookings,
College game day has made the voyage to Brookings, South Dakota to experience a game with the best fans in college football. I unfortunately cannot attend because I have a game this Sunday, so I sent a man I trust to make my picks. A man who is my holder for almost a decade. Please be nice to him. Welcome this week's celebrity guest picker, Pat McAfee.
Go big, go blue, go Jacks.
Hosting Auburn
Yes, everybody saw this. The best fake punt in the world. What do you think, Pat?
I absolutely loved it all the way up until execution time. That is not what we like to show in the brand headquarters and punting and kicking world.
Oh, dance off. Oh, let's get weird. Yes. Duck that, huh?
Bang! Right off the top of the dome. That makes it a lot easier when you got a dummy standing right in front of you like that.
Running. Oh! High Daniel Russo!
Wax on! Wax off! Knee to the face!
Yes! Serious.
Go!
Yes.
Go! Yes!
These teams stink. With that 15, they celebrate by doing shotguns. And I'm a big fan of that. I'm going with the University of Virginia Cavaliers. That was great. Whoa! I will never, ever in the history of my life play against that ball. Oklahoma State is a really good team. Not so fast again.
But I'm going with Trey.
Please excuse my dumb friend Kirk. Look at this crowd. They've been out here since 4 a.m. College game day comes to town. They lose their mind. The population of this state is about 800,000. And when the Jackrabbits take the field, they're alongside all 800,000 South Dakotans. The Dakota marker was in Fargo for far too long. Today, 5 o'clock local time, the Dakota marker is back in beautiful Brookings, South Dakota. Terry School. They might be the Jackrabbits, but they're the GOATs today. Ladies and gentlemen, South Dakota State with the win.
Give me that right there.
No, don't do that. No. Leave.
Kelsey has the Pat says it'll be
I told you I came on your radio show. We were going to get you on college anyway.
Not only are you incredibly intelligent and handsome, you're a man of your word. You picked North Dakota today, so I had to bury you.
That's okay.
But it's been nothing but incredible. The college game day crew is hospitable. In South Dakota State, I think we can all agree, they showed up here.
Yeah.
But I loved it. I've watched the show, obviously, forever. And it's on in every single NFL locker room. I told you that.
Yeah,
so this is a big-time deal for me, my family, my friends.
All right, I'm back in the day here. Appreciate you, boys.
It's from the training room of the Colts. A.J. Watt tweeted.
It's very hard to process a human being without visual aids.
I got texts from every human that I've ever done television with, like since way back in the day. They're like, we knew this day would come. Equipment managers, old teammates. I mean, you don't get to trend on Twitter often anymore. They make it damn near impossible. Go up onto a stage with a couple legends, talk some shit in front of the incredible South Dakota fans. What an awesome opportunity. Welcome back to the Pat McAfee Show here, Friday, August 21st, one day before I kick Adam Cole's ass at NXT TakeOver 30, which is on WWE Network tomorrow at 7 p.m. My in-ring debut. Fight week is coming to a close here in the next couple minutes, but we do have to talk about something that is breaking, that is happening in the real time. The Detroit Pistons have completely exiled Evan Fox from their fan base. They said you're either with us or against us. They sent a tweet basically telling Evan Fox to get the hell out of Detroit and never come back.
That's not how I read that tweet, Pat. I'm not being negative towards the Pistons or Detroit. I'm negative towards the process. Red Wings literally had the worst NHL season in history. They deserved that number one pick. They earned that number one pick. They did not get it because of the lottery. Pistons had a lot of injuries, all right? It wasn't their fault. Just injuries got them, but they should have had a better pick than the 7th pick. not being negative towards Detroit, just the process.
Yeah, okay. Yeah.
Blame
well,
on
the
the curse.
Pistons just said, get the hell out of here. Big thanks to Michael Lombardi for joining us today. We have Samoa Joe and Finn Balor joining us at youtube.com/The Pat McAfee Show once this radio show ends. I will see you tomorrow night on WWE Network, and we will talk again Monday. Same Pat time, same Pat channel. This has been the Pat McAfee Show from Orlando, Florida. Fight week.
You can find me posted up, drinking out the bottle. It ain't even sexual when I tell your girl to swallow. Push your hate aside.
And we're back here on YouTube. Aunt Becky is officially going to jail today.
Nice. Lori, see you later.
Lori Loughlin.
How long?
And Mr. Massimo, the man who made the tank tops I've been wearing all week. I'm not 100% sure how long they're going to jail, but I will tell you this. Aunt Becky was the one fighting this entire thing the hardest from jump, and there was early rumors that she was facing like 25 years in jail and all this shit. They did not back down. They did not settle, and they lost. Their daughters were not smart enough to go to USC. They did the whole rowing thing. They moved forward.
Damn.
Now, Lori, Aunt Becky is probably going to a cush jail. Who knows for how long. That's a tough look that your kids are dumb and you have to go to jail for it.
Massimo got 5 months.
Massimo has 5 months in jail. How about Aunt Becky?
It hasn't been released
Are they
yet.
staggering it so they're not in jail at the same time? So there's a parent always out of jail?
That happened with the Real Housewives of New Jersey couple that had to go to jail
Teresa.
for tax evasion.
And then he got deported. He's still out of here.
Yeah.
The dad.
He got deported?
He got out of jail or prison, and he got deported back to Italy, I think. Yeah.
What was it, tax evasion? Or what was
it was tax evasion.
Is that what they were doing?
Yeah.
Feels like the tax one will get you.
Yeah,
you
get
can
you every time.
You can't run from the IRS.
You can dodge, duck, dip, dive, and dodge a lot of things. But if you owe money to the government, them sons of bitches are going to find it. That's just one of those things. That's like back whenever guys were writing off like shoes and TVs that they had there. I was like, I'll watch film on this.
Clinton Portis.
And I do this, and I'm like, okay, no, Clinton Portis got tangled up in something very, very different. But Phil, CFO Phil, was always like, yeah, we might get like $100 back here for this or $200 back. But all we're doing is just asking the IRS to die. And we do not want to be a part of that. Just pay your taxes, son of a bitch. A man who, if he wanted to, could be a tax collector, could be a bounty hunter, a badass man in the wrestling ring. Now he's found a home in commentary. He is a former NXT champion, since I will be taking on another former NXT champion tomorrow night on WWE Network. Joining us now, the handsome, the legendary, ladies and gentlemen, Samoa Joe. What up, Booze? What are you doing, brother?
I'm doing well. How are you, my friend? That's what we should be asking him.
Well, you know, Mr. Samoa Joe, I feel like I'm in the best shape of my life. I got married a couple weeks ago. I was getting in shape for that because I didn't want to be a fat ass so my bride would say no to me. I kind of carried that in a little bit more.
Those good photos. You got to give her those good photos.
And she, by the way, she's been posting all of them. We just got the good photos. She's very pumped about it. I didn't look fat. Shout out to me. And she said yes. Shout out to us. Yep, big celebration there. Big celebration there. But I do feel like I'm in the best shape of my life going in tomorrow. As a man who has spent decades in the wrestling business at this point, and as a man who is very, very knowledgeable, I've asked Mark Henry this. I asked Corey Graves this. What is something you think I should think about going in there tomorrow so I don't embarrass myself and hopefully end this thing quick?
You know, before we even get started, I got to say I'm over the moon proud of you. I like the way you've been showing up. You've been showing up with that swagger. You've been showing up with that confidence. You've been out there talking the right kind of trash, you know, that dig in the soul, pink feelings type of trash that I like. I'm a big fan of, you know, and I'm really happy about that. I have one criticism.
Oh, no.
One criticism. You need to brief your crew a little bit better. You know what I mean? Like that situation, the way it ended out at the end of the show, I didn't like the way it happened. This is why I don't really run with the crew. It's just too many moving parts. But I'm saying, like, you know, they let Adam Cole get real close to the champ. You know what I'm saying? They let somebody get a little bit too close to the champ, a little bit too close to the championship. That's all I'm saying.
Hey,
that's all I'm saying.
You can handle yourself.
I mean, I'm saying somebody gets my men are with me, and somebody gets that close to me, that soup spoon hook, that this one, that bam comes right out from the right, and then you know what happens then? It's Pat pick a leg McAfee. Okay, that's what you tell him. Pick a leg. You boom, punt him, get out of that ring. You guys been out there standing pretty, looking tall, all the momentum going in to the big show. So I just want to know, there needs to be an audit of what went on. What the hell happened, man?
Okay,
what happened?
Joe, I can understand where you're coming from there, and maybe they did look bad in the situation, but we are businessmen, Joe. We're all businessmen at this point.
I want to say also, they all look like they just had left like an insurance salesman convention from the Residence Inn. I do want to say that.
Hey, Joe.
Like, you know, listen, let me tell you about henchmen, okay? And this is key, like, guy, if you're going to be an evil mastermind, Pat, you got to learn about how to do henchmen right. And the first rule of henchmen is henchmen got to look way more crazy than you do when they walk. Like, people got to look at your henchman and go, if this man is controlling these animals, what am I in for when I get in the ring with him? And, like, when I looked at your henchman, I'm like, all right, this dude, he knows where the best Krispy Kreme in town is.
Oh, Nick.
This dude over here. You. I mean, he looked like he about to be a problem, but he didn't dress like he came here to start a problem.
Oh.
And the other guy, you know, like, that's the vibe. You know, guys, I'm just saying.
Joe,
you let him get too close to the champ. You should feel bad about that. I mean, this man's about to go into war, into battle. You're his soldiers.
Joe.
And you let the enemy general get in his face
Joe.
within breathing distance in this COVID age.
Joe.
They could have been up. You didn't think about that.
Joe, let's rewind, please. Can we please rewind, okay?
Put him on game.
First of all, I'm not the one that – I don't control these animals, okay? These animals, we are a crew, okay? We are a democratic crew. We are businessmen. Okay. We very much understand that if A.J. Hawk, Super Bowl champ with that jawline, he gets in that ring, there's probably 2 dead Undisputed Era members. If Darius,
you know, but like that needs to come across. You know, like I need, you know, like you guys showed up with all the presents wrapped in brown wrapping paper. I mean, put a bow on it. I mean, you know, if you're gonna bring the Ferrari to the car show, I mean, shine up the hood a little bit. That's all I'm saying, gentlemen.
Listen, tomorrow night they'll be with me, and I think we will take your points here to the dry erase board later when we're breaking down film. I have been watching a lot of film on Adam Cole. We will have an entire study because you got to remember, this was all of our WWE debuts. Now, granted, we had a decision, though. We are not touching anybody because the money comes Saturday, okay?
Yeah,
we are not messing up Saturday at all. We're not touching anybody, and we don't know what AJ's going to do. We don't know what Darius is going to do. The Italian that you said knew where the Krispy Kreme was, accurate statement, but he's an idiot, and he'll throw hands with anybody. We had to calm him down going out in the Navigator.
No.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, you had to know. Joe, so aside from my crew doing a terrible job, which we will have to address later, I guess, what is something I should think about coming into tomorrow? I want to end this thing quick, Joe. I don't know if we go a long time, it's good for me. I think we got to end this thing quick. What should my mindset be?
Your mind, I mean, you know, listen, you got him really, really angry. I mean, he's really hot. I mean, you embarrassed him. You styled on him a little bit. You clowned him a bit. You know, he's using his big boy voice when he's yelling at you now. I mean, you know, when you get a guy using the big boy, you know, when you get that extra rasp in your voice, it's different. You know, if I talk to you like that, you know, it's just naturally it's serious. So, I mean, I think for you do want to end this quickly. You know, you don't want to run the marathon with this guy. You're in great shape. That I believe. I believe you're in fantastic shape. I believe you're ready. I think you've taken this absolutely as seriously as you possibly can, and you're in the best prepared shape that you can be in for this contest. Problem is, he's been that way for like a while. So
yeah. You're saying there's years of that. You're saying, what I've been doing for a few months.
But sometimes the new guy shows up to the lobby, slaps the people around, and hey, a new legacy is born, maybe. You know,
hell yeah.
I want you to go into this confident. You know, we're not going to talk about the negatives. We're going to talk about the positives. That's why I'm here today. Because the negatives, listen, we don't got enough showtime. But the positives, we got enough time to cover those.
Hey, you're a terrible guy, Joe. That's what I'm learning in this conversation. You have pointed out all of the negatives is what I'm learning. You have pointed out literally every single negative that we could have had, including my crew that I had with me, 28 years of NFL experience. You have pointed out every one of their negatives. It feels like you're a bit negative, even though you're saying we shouldn't be thinking negative.
No. Listen, that's all weird interpretation, bro. I mean, we all, tomato. But what I'm saying is your guys, listen, they're going to show up. They're going to show up right. I just had to address it because, I wanted to maximize the intimidation potential that your crew has.
Okay.
I see the potential there. When I look at it, like, I can see the glow. I'm like Dragon Ball. Like, I got my scanner. I can see the power level.
Okay.
But, on the outside, it's like, oh, hey, Smurf Village. Like, I don't want that to be a thing. I want
That's negative again.
Their full potential of power emanating off of them. Like, I want to see, like, a force field off of them. Like, when you guys show up, I expect there to be like music, even though there's not music, that kind of presence when they walk through the door. I mean, that's what I want to see coming up. And that's what you need to be. That's the confidence. That's the space. you need to be in. They need to elevate their game so your game is that much higher. You know, that's the way you got to think about this.
Mr. Samoa Joe, you're 100% right, actually. I agree with all your criticism of us, the crew. We will step it up for sure. But I was thinking, what about weapons? Can't we bring a lot of weapons in there? Wouldn't that help with our intimidation?
Okay, well, first of all, weapons are illegal in pro wrestling contests.
Well, I mean, what about baseball bats?
Yeah,
baseball bats.
We wouldn't want to. We wouldn't want to talk about things that may or may not be on you or underneath the ring at certain times during the contest, right? We want people to be, referees going around searching underneath those spaces and those little, peekholes where we might put things to help our friends do better in life. We wouldn't want to tip off anybody to go look in those places now, would we?
No, yep, you're right.
We will not.
So you
These
just
are
said
the deficiencies I'm talking about, man.
So hold on, you just said that
out here dry snitching on everything.
Oh no. Samoa Joe, you dropping game, huh?
Yeah.
Pat. Listen, we going into battle here, and we need soldiers. We don't need people talking all the time.
Let's talk about talking all the time. You're commentating now, and you're doing an incredible job. Hey, you're doing an incredible job on commentary. I assume that's not easy.
It's a bit of an adjustment. It's weird talking about the greatness of other people besides myself, that was a major adjustment.
Especially because you're a hater. We just learned massive hater.
Yeah. But I fight these instincts. Some are professional, so I'm glad that you have recognized that. That's just been the major thing, pretty much.
Dominic going into Seth Rollins this weekend in a street fight. You were very close to him getting hit by the kendo stick, I believe, 4,000 times. What is your thoughts on that entire thing? And they've been using you a lot for, by the way, being the guy that set the scene, which is a massive role in the business.
Yeah. Sometimes you got to go out there and get everybody on the right page and get the tale told correctly. And I was. And, Dominic did get whooped unmercifully in front of me upon signing his WWE superstar contract. But I think that was part of it. Welcome to the company, kid. This is the world. This is the world you wanted to get into. I knew his dad would have approved. That's how he got broke in. You get in there and you get messed up a few times. So I think it was a fitting introduction. But give him an extra little drive, and I knew he'd survive. And I'm looking forward to what he does at SummerSlam.
Massive weekend for the WWE. SummerSlam, obviously, on Sunday. NXT TakeOver 30 on Saturday. And tonight, SmackDown Thunderdome. Woo! I know you don't commentate on SmackDown, but what have you heard about the Thunderdome? What are your thoughts on the potential Thunderdome? And how happy are you to get inside of that Thunderdome down there?
I already made my thoughts very clear about Thunderdome. I'm trying to get Byron on Tom's Black like Master Blaster. I want a monster truck just to at least drive up to the venue, and at least I'm debating the hockey mask, but I think it's kind of I don't know if people Lord Humongous was bad, but I want it to be that. I don't think they're going to go with my vision personally. I think they got something else planned with all this technology and HD screens and stuff, and it's supposed to be cool. But I know what I was in for.
Hey, how many countries have you been in?
I think it'd be easier to say how many I haven't, even before wrestling, I traveled a lot with my parents had a Polynesian show. We traveled a ton too. So, I think it was on my third world tour by the time I got into the wrestling business.
What country is a country that isn't expected to be awesome that you would say, hey, there's a country you should at least visit?
I don't know, because countries that I thought were going to be terrible, everybody's like, no, what are you talking about? They're great. Unexpected countries, I think a lot through Southeast Asia and stuff, and especially when you get out of the bigger cities and get out towards the more rural areas. Like I said, I think Thailand's beautiful once you get a little bit out of the city towards the beaches and you see more of the natural countryside and stuff like that. I think Malaysia and stuff. If you don't go through Singapore and Malaysia and stuff at some point, there's just really, really beautiful spots that are pretty cool to hang out and chill in.
Wrestling isn't the only thing that's taking you around the world, but wrestling has been your life here for a long time, and there's a lot of people I think from my show that are getting either reintroduced to wrestling or introduced to wrestling for the first time, and they're like, why do you love it? It's like, hey, this is a soap opera, this is incredible athletics, there's great fights, there's great entertainment, and the people that are in there are working their asses off. So I think there's so much of the wrestling business to be loved that people might be getting kind of new to. And I think you're a great depiction of that, a man who's been around, been everywhere, and done it for your entire life and done incredibly well.
Well, I mean, I really have nothing. I don't know. Maybe I'm one of the few. I don't have much in the way of regrets or things to complain about when it comes to the wrestling industry and what it's given me and the places it's taken me and the fun that I've had and the fans and everything. I mean, it's been great. So it's like I find it hard to complain about something that's been so good to me for so many years.
Well, you figure out a way to be a hater, though. I mean, you buried everybody in this living room, but we can't thank you enough for joining us.
And then tomorrow, we're stronger, we're mightier, we're better men. And that's all I want for everybody, guys. It's a real positive in the end.
Hey, what a hero this guy is. You can hear him on commentary on Raw, Monday Night Raw on USA Network. You'll be able to hear him at SummerSlam on Sunday. You see him on the internet. Living legend in the wrestling world. Also former NXT champion. World champion. Every champion you could possibly be in the wrestling business. Samoa Joe. Thank you, Joe.
Gentlemen, best of luck.
Appreciate you, man. Hey, he sawed you guys down. God. You guys stink is what I learned. I didn't even think.
If he stepped into an NFL locker room, I got some shit to say to him.
Sure, I have some corrections for his ass, too.
No, but we're in a new environment. We knew you had it. We weren't worried about him.
We made a very clear decision before we went in there. We are not touching anybody in here, okay? Because, by the way, somebody wants to touch us, guess what we can do? Sue, own the company. That's what we do.
Bingo.
No big deal. That's what we'll do. No contact. Let's just go in here. We'll have this face-to-face, and let's get out of here. The money's on Saturday.
Yes.
We all know the money's on Saturday. There's no reason for AJ to get his jaw on somebody's face, knock them out. There's no reason for anything to complicate this. We wait till Saturday. So I feel like I understand what Joe was saying, but we had a game plan going in there, and we executed. We executed the game plan.
Yeah, Joe must have missed when AJ tried to. AJ called some guy up to if he wanted to, get the business, but he didn't.
Hey, who are you eyeing down if there was potentially going to be something?
The bearded one.
Kyle O'Reilly.
Not mustache dude.
I was looking at the mustache dude.
Yeah. The mustache dude.
Samoa Joe's right.
Face.
It should have gotten physical. He's right.
Oh, so in your eyes,
I think it was a missed opportunity from us
to potentially get in there. Maybe. Hey,
that's a regret I have. Yeah.
Like take it to the grave.
I'm telling you, those guys were 100% looking right at me. Like, right. You want to go? Right. Like I think one of them blew me a kiss. Like,
no. Which, by the way, ultimate sign of disrespect. A lot of people said
ultimate.
I should have potentially kissed Adam Cole's forehead whenever he came into my face.
Or the top of his head.
And, by the way, I did not because we said no contact going in. Joe wasn't a part of that team meeting. I mean, that's not on us. That seems like that's on him. Samoa Joe, though, good guy. Hey, that was an entertaining conversation.
Yeah, he's hilarious.
He was ready to go, yeah. Connor, I couldn't even fathom what he would have said about you if you were up there.
No, yeah, I'm glad I wasn't because he probably would have deleted me off of the show.
We talked about a lot of stuff on today's show. I feel like we covered a lot of things.
Mm-hmm.
We put out posts and tweets. Did anybody hate what we said today, or is it mostly a positive thing today?
Detroit Pistons. I mean,
the Detroit Pistons.
Yeah, the Detroit Pistons, because Foxy said the whole city's cursed and basically cursed the city. He's not a Pistons fan anymore.
Foxy, that has to be tough, though, to know that the teams that you cheer for all hate you.
No, TJ Lang said it right, all right? I'm a massive fan, but I'm realistic, all right? We haven't been good for years. I'm just waiting for the Pistons to get back to that 04 stage when we had Ben Wallace, Rasheed Wallace, and Chauncey. Maybe the 7th pick in the draft this year can help us do that.
Well, you curse the team, so,
The Detroit Pistons have just tweeted all love for Evan Foxy.
Oh, here we go.
Oh, my
what
God.
a win. The Lions follow me on Twitter, and now the Pistons all love. I mean, Pat, the city of Detroit absolutely loves you after you called that Matt Prater touchdown throw. And now look at this. We're all friends here.
No, the thing about Detroit is I've always loved their fans. Okay, their fans are loyal. Their fans are diehard. They used to have that guy that would sing on the side of the field. Do you remember that? He would sing like a touchdown.
He played the keyboard.
And he would sing.
He was great.
Yeah, do the whole thing. Yeah. I enjoy Detroit. I just feel as if their teams, if the Pistons are listening to this, their teams have let down the city for a very long time now. Long time at this point. But Matty Stafford donating money back to Georgia,
Bingo.
Moving out of his house on a lake because he's growing a family.
Yep.
He's at the point now where I think he's healthy with his broken fucking back. Maybe this is the year that the Detroit Lions go on a run and somehow find a way for those 10 games where they had to lead in the fourth quarter, they said, end up getting those wins and turn around the entire city of Detroit. Ain't that right, Foxy?
Yes, sir. The last decade of Detroit sports has been the worst in its city's history. I think this decade is the year we switch it, and it starts with the Lions. I really do think, though, Pat, like I said in my tweet, you gave all the boys $500,000. If Detroit Lions could just take one of those millions they have and give it to Calvin Johnson, and we make amends. That might be the curse I'm referring to.
Well, I saw a lot of Detroit fans say, well, if he wants to get paid, maybe he should have played then. So maybe Detroit doesn't feel that way. Maybe that's why they're cursed, just for future reference, because Calvin did play, by the way. Got a lot of tweets about that.
Calvin gave a lot to the city of Detroit. So
what do you think, Ty?
No shit.
Is Detroit back, Ty?
Ty Schmidt, noted Green Bay Packer fan and part owner of the Packers.
Yeah, I mean, unless Rodgers, gets his arm pinned between something and they have to, amputate his right arm, the Lions aren't winning the fucking division.
Oh, come on, Ty.
You think lefty Aaron, potentially?
Actually, yeah, they might. So, I mean, shit, from what we've seen from Jordan Love early, lefty Aaron might be fucking the best option we got.
Are you talking about him missing that hole in the net?
It really wasn't that bad of a throw.
It was close.
I mean,
That ball's getting tipped and going for 6 the other way.
The button hook.
But Aaron Rodgers being a good mentor, being a good leader, telling him you got to spin it in there, I think is what he was saying.
Spin it in there, yeah. You don't need to fire this. It's like a check down. Don't be firing this thing off the dude's head. That's how it does get tipped. Pick. You're right.
Well, see, I think that's
either that or
Aaron's
he was like,
farewell
hey, dude, this is like a 4-yard pass. You better be able to fucking throw this in the net.
Your first round pick. We traded up for you.
Yeah.
Wouldn't that kill your confidence if you were Jordan Love? And there's Aaron Rodgers, a legend starting quarterback's like, you were a first-round pick?
What
Just make little comments like that.
What if, those snaps, we're breaking it down as if he was coaching him. What if he was like, that was the worst fucking throw?
That would be amazing.
Snapping him the ball, hey, don't fuck this up.
And he's throwing, without the laces on purpose, throwing fucking knuckleballs. Yeah, this couldn't be like this sometimes at fucking Lambeau, pal.
He's like, hey, we won't practice to be hard in the game, right? I'm trying to put this guy through some stress so he responds better in game day.
He's obviously not doing that, okay? But we're saying from a straight comedic sense, and who's number 8 back there? That guy looks like a bland quarterback NFL guy who could probably watch films good. Number 8 back there. What? You look at it. Go back to the beginning of that video.
Bland. What do you say? Bland NFL guy who watches
film good. Yeah, I would assume number 8 is.
I mean, it's not a terrible throw. Just
What
a
are
little
you
bit high.
They're 5 yards away from that thing.
They might be 10.
Also, by the way, warm-ups. Let's not judge too much.
Mm-hmm. Might have been his first throw.
The only thing you can...
And he's nervous as hell, by the way. Jordan Love is nervous as hell for these practices. He knows he's
football.
Yeah.
Football, man.
You should have seen his footwork yesterday. Jesus Christ.
I mean, what are you? Are you Simon Cowell of the NFL? What was wrong with his
No, I'm
footwork?
just saying. I mean, this guy's the future, and it looks like he's never, strapped on the cleats before. He gets out there yesterday. What, is Raj going to have to fucking change his diaper for him every day? I mean, this is the NFL, pal. I thought he was ready to go.
Listen to the Packers fans, which are known for being very nice for their players. I mean, listen to this guy. This guy, by the way, has become the face of Packers fans because of Mad Mel on draft night having a conniption whenever Jordan Love was drafted because it was the only pick that he thought that could have pissed off Aaron Rodgers, the only good thing on the team, and you decide to piss him off. What's up, Dick?
I do much better narrative if Aaron was like, listen, kid, it's fucking 6-yard throw. Literally just fucking 6 yards. Can't be this fucking bad.
It is interesting because Roethlisberger has been judged mightily because he doesn't give away the secrets to the young quarterbacks that are brought in to replace him in his eyes, in the team's eyes, probably just to back him up because he gets hurt every single year. And then he gets judged. He's like, oh, he's a bad vet. He's a bad teammate. He's this, he's that. There's that fine balance of hey, I want you to do better. Okay, I would like you to do better because I'm a human and I know that you're a human and we get along. But also, I have to focus on my shit too. So there's there's always this expected accountability of the vet to make the younger player better. But in the NFL, it's like, hey, the vet also is trying to get as good as they possibly can. It's a real fun. Did you ever have to deal with that at linebacker? Was there ever a younger guy brought in that you knew was probably there to replace you, but you had to kind of teach him and be civil and be a human with him as well?
I don't know. I mean, I always had good relationship with all the young. You're playing inside backer, and we were in the 4-3. They're drafting backers every year. Some of them came up and became starters and everything, but I mean, it's not your job. You're not obligated to mentor a kid. But if they ever have questions for you, you definitely shouldn't be cold to them. You shouldn't ignore them. And I think too, I found out from explaining the defense to younger guys, it helped me understand the defense even more. Yeah. That helped me a lot.
They say teaching is the best way to learn. Because you're breaking down things from a whole different side of things. You're looking at it. You're like, actually, this is probably the right way to do it.
It goes back to liking each other, too.
Oh, yeah.
So you're in the locker room helping the guy. Malik Hooker, they drafted him to replace me, but I'm still helping him learn the game. Hey, that's how you break down quarterback. That's how you watch film. Guys did it to me, Lee Biden, Sean Springs. But you, as a DB, they draft and replace you every year. They try and get younger and faster every year. So it's
Lee
definitely
Biden,
part
where
of
did
the
Lee
game.
Biden go to school at?
Lee Biden went to school to Duquesne. Duquesne, right? Yeah, they don't have a football program.
Nah, they stink, yeah.
Did he say they don't have a football program?
They don't,
do.
right?
Yeah, they do.
They brought it back?
It never left.
It seemed like it was gone for a while there, though.
By the way, Ben's just being smart because why teach Mason Rudolph? I saw him throw one time. He's like, oh, this guy throws a beach ball. I'm not even going to waste my time.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes you got to pick and choose where you spend your energy, too. This guy's
good point, Big Ben, because he divvies it up pretty well.
What are you talking about?
His energy.
What does he do with it?
Well, he does a lot of things. He jerks his meat 20 times a day. He throws footballs. He probably eats team dinners and stuff. And he's also been organizing trips on his old boat with the wide receivers.
Now speaking.
Where does he take a boat out?
I think it was a tugboat. I forget what lake it was. It might have been a river. Might have been a bay. I'm not sure.
Keep reaching, man. Keep reaching.
I'm not sure.
Come on.
Zito felt so good about that. When he said tugboat, you could see his brain. It's like when a slot machine hits.
Yeah.
You could see his
ding 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 ding.
He was so happy that tugboat line came.
Roethlisberger was just explaining his relationship with Jesus Christ, which, me and Darius had to do a lot with the Indianapolis Colts, and I assume you did as well, AJ. And there's no way he thought that was going to get leaked everywhere. There's no way.
Yes, he did. He knew it was being recorded, though.
It's 2020.
You
Something
have
been
to know
recorded, you gotta
if it's
know.
being said. Like, okay, I assume, let's say when this show is over, we shut the cameras off, everything. I assume everything I say in this house is recorded somewhere.
Oh, do you?
Yes, because you are a content creator, and you're going to want to put it up. You're going to want to catch me saying something stupid or whatever, and be like, hey, man, you mind if I throw this clip up? And it's me just canceling my whole life.
No. By the way, you don't act like that, so it would be impossible. Tom Brenneman, that guy is going to be tough to find a microphone where he's going to be able to get on again. You just can't be. By the way, that entire situation over there, it's obviously incredibly sad. And all that, but those same companies that hire those guys are the same companies that tell me I'm too much of a wild card to put on camera. So it's like I speak for 3 hours every day, basically, with an open microphone, just wide open. You can scroll through all my tweets if you want. I just think, if you're an idiot, at some point it's going to come to light, and that's a moment that he's, probably never get a job again, to be honest with you.
Never.
And you don't talk like that, although, I mean, you're from the same area where the guy's from, but
I don't know if Brenneman was born in Ohio. I know his dad Marty's a legend, Tom is a legend, but I mean 30 years of work, you just flush it right down the drain. That's what's brutal.
Well, he's been a scumbag for 30 years, so it's just nice that at year 30 they find out.
Agreed. Hey, tomato.
Kansas City's a nice place.
Samoa Joe usually.
By the way, anybody says tomato, get the fuck out.
Yeah, seriously.
No one says tomato.
Has anybody ever said tomato?
That's a good point.
I'm not 100% sure. No. Somebody says tomato to me, I'm probably not going to be friends with them, if I had to guess.
Tomato sauce.
Ty wanted to let you know that Kansas City is a very nice place.
I agree. I've been.
I like Kansas City.
Does Brenneman not like Kansas City?
I like Kansas City.
So do I. It's very nice.
We played in Kansas City. Obviously, it was negative 75 degrees.
Yep, I got a pick six. I love Kansas City too.
Let's go.
Is that on Brady Quinn? That was on his
Brady Quinn.
I
love Kansas City.
Hey, you had a run there where you were pick six.
Oh, yeah.
Like every time you got the ball, it was going back. Never gets talked about.
That was my third shot in the league. I had to take advantage of it.
Jacksonville, pick six.
Yep.
I think you had a couple down there.
I loved playing Jacksonville. Love those quarterbacks.
Who was the quarterback?
It didn't matter. But Blaine Gabbert. Blaine Gabbert, I think I got most of it. I don't think I got Bortles, but Gabbert.
Here's a fun fact.
Henny.
When you're a punter and you pin a team deep, okay, like pin them on like the inside the 5, it's like, okay, I did my job well. But if the defense just lets them get out to the fucking 40, you might as well have not even gone out. You might as well have taken the snap and just taken a knee right there. Mm-hmm. But sometimes some defenses are set up like, hey, we're going to bend. We're going to let them do the thing, but then we're going to tighten up. That's just the way it's going to be. So punting is literally null and void. It doesn't really matter. With Darius, there was always a chance, and it happened on numerous occasions. We back him up. Literally, first play was going to be something of them throwing a pick six, and I was like, fucking right. That makes what I just did actually matter. I appreciate that. Instead of the, first play, 30-yard run right up the fucking sideline. Why'd I even go in the field? Let me get out of here. That was a good
complimentary football.
That really is.
You pin them, and then I take a chance. Because they're scared, too. They're backed up. They're scared.
Oh, yeah.
That's on your D coordinator as well. He's got to change his game plan, how he's going to call the defense, too. If you got a team backed up, you just pinned them. Like, you got to choose, like, hey, we're going to be really aggressive, try to make a play early if they're going to take a shot to try to get out of this hole.
Yep.
That's where you get those pick sixes.
Yeah.
Hey, I'll pin them, you get them. That's what I said to one of the D coordinators,
Mm-hmm.
And he said, some games, yeah.
Some depends.
I was like, all right, I'll pin them. You just let them out. Whatever you got to do. Joining us right now another man who is an NXT champion, and this guy has a 14-pack. Okay.
Oh, yeah.
He has a 14-pack. You've seen him. He's been the world heavyweight champ. And now he's back at NXT where he started. He's wrestled all around the globe. Ladies and gentlemen, the handsome Irishman, the Prince, Finn Balor. What up, Finn?
Finn?
Woo!
Yeah, I'd say tomato, actually.
You say tomato?
Hang up.
Tomato, yeah.
Is that just all of Ireland, or is that your accent, or what is it?
Actually, tomato, or we say potato as well.
Hey, we need you to turn your phone sideways.
Sideways, you got it.
Yeah. Unlock that thing. You got to unlock it.
Oh, man.
Sorry, it's the internet. This does not matter.
Come on, brother. This is worse than you getting a phone call on live TV, man.
Oh, well, that happens as well. And by the way, for us, we just kind of roll with it. It actually is better content. I believe, did you just have an anniversary?
Yes, 1 year anniversary.
Happy anniversary to you. I just got married. I mean, this is big news.
Congrats to you, Pat.
Hey, thank you. Forever's a long time. I'm pumped for it. My wife just got the wedding photos, so we're reliving that moment, as did you, I assume, on your anniversary. Congrats to you on a trip around the sun as a married man.
Yeah, very lucky, man. Very, very happily married. So I heard this thing Matt Bloom told me that apparently newlyweds in quarantine counts for 2 years. So technically it could be like our 2-year anniversary because we've been pretty much locked down the entire 1 year.
Hey, congratulations on 2
Hell
years.
Yeah.
All right.
Hell yeah.
Congratulations on 2 years, Finn. That's not easy. The fact that you guys don't hate each other, I would assume, is setting you up nicely for the future. Let's talk about the future, the immediate future. You have been a man who has dominated in the ring wherever you were, all around the globe. You're incredibly handsome, incredibly talented. You've been doing this a long, long time. Tomorrow, I'm just jumping in there, a couple weeks' notice. What are your thoughts on how I'm going to do out there?
I think you're going to do great. So I've done a little bit of research. So I looked at your longest kick, right? 75 yards. I reckon you could probably do 80 though, right?
Yeah, definitely.
So then I checked out the weight of a football. So the weight of a football is about half a pound. Between half a pound and a pound. So then I done the math. I reckon Cole, he's billed at like 200, but I've seen him walking around pretty trim and lean lately. So I think he's about 175, 180. So I done the math, and you can kick him over the bottom rope.
So what is that? That's like 4 feet. I could get.
Yeah, it was like 36 inches, so about this height.
Hey, that's good news.
Perfect.
I mean, that's a good piece of intel that I did not have until right now. And I knew that I knocked him out cold and he fell completely flat. But the fact that now that I know that I can literally kick him from the mat off the ground due to science, Finn Balor's science, out of the ring, that is a great piece of information to have, Finn. I'm very confident now.
Yeah. How do you think you're going to do?
You know, Finn, I'm not 100% sure. This is very interesting because I've done a lot of things in my life. I alluded to that in my promo on Wednesday night. I've done a lot of things. And I've been dropped into deep end basically in every single profession that I've had, right? I've been just dropped into complete deep end. And everything has come out pretty good. Normally, like, walk out the other side of it, I'm like, not too shabby. I would assume everybody did not expect that. But in this world, I don't have a clue. I honestly, because it combines so much. You know, there's so much athleticism. There's so much, you have to be cerebral. There's so many things that I haven't had to put together before. I'm not sure. I'm confident, but I'm just not 100% sure. I feel good, but I'm not 100% sure.
Have you been training?
Oh yeah. Come on. I had to get in shape for the wedding. So this is like the best shape I've been in my life. And then I just carried it in to some wrestling training to see if I can hopefully try to catch up to a man that's been doing this for a dozen years.
What do you think of Lawrence Taylor? He done it back in the day. He done pretty good.
Yeah, I've been getting tagged in a lot of those old matches, and a lot of people have been calling me the potential next Mongo. I want to let you know that is not going to be the case, okay? Although I love Mongo, okay? I love the clips of Mongo, but I'm striving obviously to look as if I know what the hell I'm doing in there. That is what I'm going to do. And by the way, I want to end it quick. But if it ends up going a little bit longer, I would like to be known as a man who potentially outclassed a man at his own profession.
What about Gronk? Have you spoken to Gronk? He's been in the ring, right?
Gronk's in the middle of training camp, and he's taking some late shots at training camp, too. I don't know if he's exactly thrilled to be back out there getting speared like 30 yards down the field. They did release the clip, though, of Vince McMahon at 74 doing that jump off of the ledge at WrestleMania to show Gronk that he'd be okay. Gronk and I have not talked. I think we're in two very different situations, but I would assume he would have a little piece of advice for me. I guess I could learn from. I guess.
Yeah. Well, you're in at the deep end, man.
I know. Takeovers, too, something you were a part of building. Takeovers, there's an expectation of greatness, too. Takeovers are the best wrestling shows on the planet, and tomorrow's Takeover 30, obviously, it's going to have to be huge.
Yeah, it's going to be a big one, man. I'm in there with Timothy Thatcher. Slightly similar to your situation in the sense it's the first time you're in the ring ever. My kind of recent NXT run, anytime I've been in a televised match, it's the first time I've ever been in the ring with that person. So obviously, like 20 years of experience, but it's still very new in the sense of getting to know someone, boom, in the moment when the bell rings. So I've had to learn a lot in this run. And, it was with Johnny, it was with Ciampa, it was with Priest, it was with pretty much everyone, and that's going to be the same with Timothy tomorrow.
When Damian Priest came on our show, I think he was getting ready for you, and I tried to give away your entire playbook to him, and there were some other things I said as well. But
4 moves, man, it wouldn't take that long.
4 moves, is that what you just said?
Yeah.
Going back to NXT, was that something you were excited about? Because you started out with it. Obviously, you started out indies all around the world, Japan, everywhere. And then you come to NXT. You guys slaughtered NXT, build the brand of NXT, the whole thing. Then you get called up to, I believe, Raw. You win a championship, get hurt. Now you come back down to, not down, but back to NXT. Are you excited to be back at NXT?
Of course, man. You get in this industry, like if you stay in one place for too long, it gets repetitive. And, I was in England for 6 years. I was in Japan for 8 years. I came to NXT. I was in NXT for like 2 years. Then I was doing Raw and SmackDown for a couple of years. And I just felt like that the challenges were not as stimulating where I was at. And I felt like NXT was the right move for me. And it's proven that so far.
You got a tattoo on your hand there? How bad did that hurt?
Oh, this one? Yeah. That was terrible, man. That was like a broken hand afterwards.
What is it?
It's me. I don't know if I can't see the screen, but it's me looking at the moon.
Hold on. We got to move it to your, there we go. It's you looking at the moon.
Yeah, as a kid.
Man, in a spacesuit there too, huh?
Yeah.
Oh, how long did that take there?
That took about 4 hours, maybe 4 or 5 hours.
Oh, my God, I cannot do it.
I have a JFK shirt that looks like that.
Oh, he did have. We have a moon shirt that we wore on this YouTube show, and for some reason, YouTube just pulled our show immediately upon him wearing it.
Very weird.
And he was trying.
Wait a second, brothers. I'll get a cheap pop here. I've done it on my T-shirt.
Oh, wow. Okay, little moon man out there. Little moon man. You alluded to this in your answer before. 20 years you've been wrestling. Was this it for you ever since you were a kid? I'm going to be a professional wrestler?
Well, yeah, like pipe dream. It was all I wanted to be, but I didn't know if it was going to be possible. I grew up in like a small seaside town in Ireland. There was no wrestling at all in the country at the time. So I know I was 5'11", like 150 pounds when I left high school. So it was very far-fetched to believe that I could do it, but I don't know. It was finished high school, found a training camp, started training. One thing led to another. 20 years later, here I am talking to you.
Ireland has been getting a lot of love in the combat world. You, Becky, Connor, what is it about Ireland that just creates electrifying figures? Because I am also Irish, obviously.
I don't know, man. Maybe it's something in the genes. I don't know. We've been a nation that's fought for 800 years against, Imperial Britain to kind of fight for our freedom. We only fought for our freedom in 1916, kind of became a sovereign state in 1921. So it's kind of embedded in us, from history to just fight. So obviously there's that. There's a couple beers here and there, get people in the mood for a couple slaps.
You have a 10-pack. You haven't had a beer in probably 45 years, it feels like.
Oh, man. You know what? I've been drinking wine recently, but the carbs are starting to catch up on me now. Like, especially, we were just talking about the anniversary, man. I went to a tapas bar, had pizza, had cheesecake, had mac and cheese.
Oh,
wow. Oh, yeah. So I think I'm going to be looking a little fuller on on Takeover 30.
AJ, have you ever seen this dude without a shirt on?
Yeah, of course. I saw him. You were inside the ring when I was there. You were working forever. Like, you could see your attention to detail, Finn's, was unbelievable. When I was watching you work your craft and go through everything, all these different techniques, I was really impressed watching you think through your matches.
Yeah, you are a cerebral man. And now you're also, I might be wrong here, but you are currently a dick, right? I mean, aren't you you're a terrible person right now, by the way.
I'm just letting the real Finn out, you know. I've been hiding it for a long time.
Where are you? Do you live in the States full time, or where were you for quarantine? Were you back in Ireland?
No, yeah, I wish, man. I've been quarantined in Florida. I've been dealing with issues with my visa, my green card, which means I'm actually stuck in US like permanently right now until like all the embassies around the world open up. So I haven't seen family since Christmas. So that's been the hardest part of quarantine.
Man, I'm so sorry to hear that. A little bit of a purgatory situation for you. I assume they love watching you do your thing, though, on television tomorrow. Timothy Thatcher, you have?
Timothy Thatcher, Takeover XXX 30, and
30.
First time being in a singles match with Tim, so we'll see what happens.
What are you preparing for?
I haven't prepared one thing.
Just going out there and I'll be in the best.
Match, man. It's a wrestling match. You go out there, you lock up, and you feel him around a little bit, and you know there's no tricks, there's no gimmicks, there's no. He's a grappler. He's gonna grapple. I think I'll know what I'm doing when I'm out there.
So is that my mindset too? I should have that mindset out there. Just
be a little more calculated, man. You should have a game plan for sure.
Oh,
What is your game plan? Like, Cole ain't listening to this.
My game plan is to try to end it as fast as possible. Because you know that wine and pizza and cheesecake thing you went on there for your anniversary? I've been doing a lot of that for a long time in my life. You know what I mean? So I'm trying to end this thing as fast as possible. Now, I'm in the best shape I've been in probably ever. Maybe since like college. I'm in the best shape I've been in since college. So I feel good about that. But I'm trying to end this thing as fast as possible, Finn. I mean, as fast as possible.
Yeah, but how? Let's go into the details. Are you going to run over, kick him in the shin?
Yeah, I got to get him. I obviously have to get him back into a position where I can deliver the strongest leg in the history of the earth, one swift boot to his face to get him down. It's worked once before. I mean, it's worked once before.
Very well.
Are you going to be comfortable locking up on him if it comes to that?
Yeah, I mean, if we have to get in there and, if this becomes a full wrestle, I am very comfortable getting in there if I have to do it. Now, a lot of outsiders throughout the history of WWE have not been. Right, I very much understand that. And I, as a fan, have always hated when people who aren't wrestlers get into the ring because they always look terrible. I am not going to do that. Okay, let's have a little bit of respect for the business if it gets to that. But I'm trying to knock him out as quick as possible.
Yeah, what about Kyle, Bobby, and Roddy? Are they going to be sniffing around there?
Well, I'm bringing my boys, okay, because I know Adam has done nothing alone. Okay, the only reason why he is who he is because of the Undisputed Era. So I'm bringing my boys with me as well. So I'm going to let them. Mark Henry told me I have to watch my 6. I'm going to let the guys handle that whole thing, and then I'm just going to worry about my task at hand because you can only control what you can control.
Smart move, man. Smart move.
Sounds like you think I'm fucked. That's what it just sounded like right there. It sure felt like that.
I've been in the ring with Cole, man. He's one of the best I've ever been in the ring with. I wrestled him like a long time ago, maybe 8 years ago in London in front of about 500 people. It was one of my favorite matches I've ever had. And then recently I wrestled him in NXT. I think it was like right around December, and he'd taken it like from here to the way up here in that period.
Yeah, but not he's not too good. You know.
Well, you're probably about it.
Yeah.
There it is.
There we go. Ladies and gentlemen, the Prince tomorrow. He has a big match at NXT TakeOver 30 SummerSlam weekend. You can find it on WWE Network. He'll be beating Timothy Thatcher.
Timothy Thatcher.
Hey, what's the deal? Because, I've been to Ireland before. I enjoyed it. They treated me terrible. I was called a stupid Yankee a lot of times. But I love that the TH is just a T in the...
Yeah. Thanks very much for having me on.
Hey, that's no problem, bub. Ladies and gentlemen, the Prince, Finn Balor.
Yeah, Finn.
Woo! Appreciate you, man.
Cheers, boys.
He's a legend. He was on our we did our Road to WrestleMania RV tour, and he was on there for a little bit. And his music, I don't know if you know his entrance. He comes out there's a part of the song where it gets real like, and all the lights come on into place, and he like holds his hands up like this, and when the crowd's there, it's like a really cool moment or whatever. His entrance is electric. So we tried to recreate that in the RV. So we had the light, the side light on the like on the, you know, like in the classic car, like the point button. So we played his music, and I was like, hey, when the time comes, turn on the light. He was like, what's that? And I was like, well, you'll know. And we hit the music, and then it gets to the moment. It's like, we turn on the lights. I was shirtless when the lights came back on, and he was obviously ripped to shreds. I was fat. Good guy there, Finn Balor.
Oh, a hell of an accent, too.
Incredible wrestler. Incredible wrestler. Anything else anybody wants to get out here? What's up, Diggs? You were going to say something there?
Was it Finn who got the footage of the RV?
Yeah. Yeah, Finn was arriving to WrestleMania at the exact same time that Zito was busting out the top of the RV on that overhang. So shout out to Finn. Shout out to him for being a part of some magical moments both in our lives and in Zito's life. Any final words going into the weekend from anyone?
Hell of a fight week. Good luck tomorrow. You guys are going to do well. And obviously, Nick, AJ, Darius, keep your head on a swivel.
Yeah, we got to.
Yeah. AJ?
6.
Hey, there it is. That's what Mark Henry said. AJ, do you have any motivational speeches for me?
Here you go, AJ. Here we go.
Here we go.
I'm glad we got that motivational speech from Samoa Joe. Like, hey, we need to take some more action.
Yeah, you
I love feedback.
Take action.
Yeah,
I like when coaches would give me feedback. So, yeah, I like that feedback because in my brain in the moment last week was like, we need to kill these 3 guys behind us.
Yeah, kill these 3 guys.
Yeah.
I'm excited to be back there.
Yeah.
I hate all this. I hate this. But, yeah, all that. The fake enthusiasm.
AJ Hawk.
Ty.
AJ Hawk.
Ty.
AJ Hawk.
That was for you, man. Thanks for that. That really made us all, and even the viewers now feel uplifted from what you just did there. Ty, do you have anything on the way out here? Maybe some words of encouragement for Jordan Love or the Green Bay Packers or maybe for the fight weekend or anything?
Good luck, and just remember that when the Allied troops took Normandy, they took the beaches of Normandy, they knew they might lose some limbs, they might lose their lives, but the end goal, what they needed to do, was way more important than that. So get out there, detach that fucker Adam Cole's head from his shoulders, and leave a nice open spot in his neck for the blood to seep out in the ring, just like the beaches of Normandy.
That's the show, dude. That's the show. From all of us and Coach Lou Holtz, have a great weekend. Big night tomorrow. I hope you will join us. WWE Network, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, NXT TakeOver 30, then SummerSlam on Sunday. The Thunderdome is going to be interesting to watch tonight on Fox for SmackDown. Big weekend. Ty, really appreciate you doing that. I mean, Jesus Christ.